Hello, friends of the internet, and welcome back to another edition of the ONETA show brought to you by PT Creative. As always, I am your host, the Eraserhead himself currently, Evan
Wow,
Davies.
wow, 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 wow.
And with me, my lovely co-host, my best boy in the world, it's Angie. He's back. Oh, yeah.
When when we started talking, I had a full glass of root beer,
I
and
did
now that we've
notice
started
that.
recording, it's gone.
We did our
It's disappeared.
usual, for context to the people, we did our usual hour and a half personal chat before the show this time instead after the show so we could possibly get more sleep. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but we're going to try.
I don't know if it's gonna happen. We're probably gonna knock another hour and a half out at the end anyway.
Yeah,
So
probably.
we'll see what happens.
But
We'll see what happens.
hey, okay, so
Hey.
quick recap for the folks of the internet. It's been 2 weeks, I guess, removed since a new episode has come out of this specific series. We are adding characters to our Smash Bros. Series. So we've done the final 40 cut down of what we think a rebooted Smash Bros. Could be, and now we're adding new characters to that. You can see from my tier maker list up on screen that we have new addition, outside looking in, toss up. I guess they could do that, and nah. And then Angie's got a separate little one that you may be able to pay attention to of here's tier maker, and it's all about the concepts of his character pitches, just so there's a visual on it. And the recap.
Mine's got the cool characters on it.
Oh yes, I forgot. Yours is the cool character. So I did
Mine's
not
the cool
forget.
ones.
I did not forget my contractual obligations on this. Just so you know. Currently
Good.
in for sure, we have Doctor Robotnik, also known as Eggman,
Hmm.
due to contractual obligations.
Contractual obligated, yes.
Our boy Kyle, also known as Waluigi, is in the game, and we specified it had to be specifically Kyle's Waluigi, but Waluigi in general
Yes.
would be in the game. A late addition, the last addition that we agreed on was Spyro the Dragon, which didn't have high hopes for Spyro, but he made it. Mostly because of quadruped, if I believe. The idea of a quadruped.
One quadruped, two Skylanders.
Yes, the toy base market. Yes, they can. And then the off the wall pick that is in the new editions, but I do not have a file for it just because we're using different tier makers, is the Nemesis from Resident Evil, specifically Resident Evil 3,
Yeah.
most likely. Although
I can,
Nemesis is
I can
in
throw him
Resident
on
Evil 2
mine.
as well. So outside
Nemesis
looking
is not in
in.
Resident Evil 2.
Then what is this stupid giant thing that's just like the Nemesis, but it's like the Nemesis prior to the Nemesis? What's the stupid
It's
name
not the
of it?
Tyrant. Mr.
Something
X.
like that. Oh, Mr. X, something like that.
Mr. X.
I thought the
Yeah.
Nemesis. What? Who
I almost
knows?
called him Mr. T.
That would be
Yeah,
rad.
doesn't matter.
But
It would be cool.
outside looking in with a good shot right now, the Chief himself, Master Chief, and then we had
Shot.
a good Shovel Knight, Kratos, and then you suggested Asura and Alex. I think we came down on Alex from Half Life is currently outside looking in at this point. Toss ups are the Dovahkiin, Tracer, Liu Kang. Baba is used simply because of the work that would need to be done for Baba to make it functional. And I believe we came down on Gaping Dragon as a toss up. Because you said it was an automatic in, and I said it was a nah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what we
And then
said.
Alucard, Leon, and Jonesy, I brought him up, but we don't need to talk about him. So, we are ready to go with new characters. Do you want to just open the veil up with one of yours? And then we can just go into my
yeah, let's
assist trophies
do it.
discussion.
Let's talk about. And you know what? Let's start with a banger.
Okay.
So, one of the things I've been continuing to think about with our Smash tier list is, are we representing the breadth of video games?
Yes.
That's one of the cool things about Smash Bros. Is it tries to represent video games in all angles. Duck Hunt as a character is very cool because it's like what if Lycan games. That's a great concept, which brought me to the Toyota Corolla 11 Sprinter Trueno AE86
What in the fuck are you talking about right now, dude?
as a representation of the racing game genre. It is one of the most popular cars in more racing games than probably any other car available. And I think that having a character representing the idea of racing games is really cool. And I think they could totally do something with it. Like, there are so many things distinct to, like, a car that you could make work. Something that we need to bring up. Let me Oh, what's the best way for me to search this?
I'm telling you right now, I'm vetoing this hard.
Uh,
Not the
you're
concept.
What's the name of this
the
guy?
character specifically.
Look, and it's already been done. There's something they can lean on.
It's another reason I don't want to do it.
Because there was a car and a fighting game already.
I remember because it made
really
Watch Mojo's
idea.
list of the absurd top 10 fighting game characters of all time.
It was great the first time, and if Smash Brothers doesn't do it, then that means it's a worse game than this one, because this game could pull it off and Smash Brothers couldn't.
Really?
So, yep, the Toyota, I keep forgetting the name of the car because I'm
exactly
Toyota Corolla 11 Splinter Torino. I'm a racing game guy though. Like if you like Burnout, ooh baby, Burnout, ooh baby, Burnout, ooh baby, Need for Speed Most Wanted, ooh baby.
Okay.
Like, absolutely.
I love I love the idea of the racing game concept. Oh, go ahead.
So I mentioned that I feel like we should talk a little bit about like moveset stuff that we think would be cool and specific to it.
Yes.
I think that the idea of having a car is inherently cool. Side B, just fucking ram through a dude. Great. Having a move that is your tailpipe blows and like shoots a big burst of fire. Very cool. Very fun. Having something to do with hydraulics. Great time. Having something to do with a hypersonic car horn. Awesome. Love it. Having like moves that are drifts. Having like jump attacks that implement ramps as part of your moveset. Like imagine that you are coming from off screen and then like a ramp conjures in air and then you ramp off it and get extra height. Super cool. There are so many ways to make a really innovative, creative character idea in Smash, and a great way to like represent a completely underrepresented genre. There are stages that make allusions to racing games.
That's true.
But there's no racing game representative, and I think that it is a missed opportunity.
Love the concept of a racing game. Hard pass on the Toyota. Why not
the Toyota? That's the car.
Because again, it's too real, and it just doesn't.
Master Chief's too real.
But the Master Chief is at least a video game character. It's a real car. Like
a car is also a video game character. This car is in more games than Mario.
Okay.
This is more of a video game character than Mario.
Okay, here's my issue. Again, it's too tangible reality. And it goes past just the like we talked hard about how realistic in terms of like gore and violence, like why Liu Kang is in toss-up and not higher is because we're just like Mortal Kombat can't work in Smash Bros. Like we literally came to that discussion. Now you want to take it out of video games entirely and you want to put a real world vehicle into Smash Bros. And that I'm not down for. I'm down for something like this. If you said I want to put racing game element to represent racing games in Smash Bros. Down for it.
Can you look at my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen right now. Oh my god. Yes, I'm aware that the Mercedes is in a playable,
Nintendo's already done this.
An unlockable.
They've already done this.
But
they have real cars in the Mario universe.
If I were going to do this,
it's canon.
If I were going to do this as a racing game rep, I would go immediately. Number one, you already have the most popular racing game of all time in your wheelhouse.
Boring answer. Boring answer you're about to say. Go ahead.
It can get someone with even more cachet for your audience immediately in with it being that.
Look at that. That's a real car. That's a real car Mario's
It's one unlockable in a Mario Kart game versus a character representing all of racing games. If it were me, if you told me, I would even be open to this. Let's get Fox back in the game, but he's actually piloting his ship, and that's going to give you racing car elements. I'd be like, fine. You want to do F-Zero, and you want to do F-Zero racer in there. Go for it. You want to put a Mario Kart racer. Even I have Captain Toad and Toadette up for discussion. I love Toadette. It's one of my favorite characters of all time. I'm probably going to get a Toadette tattoo one day.
Mario Kart's already represented with Wario.
No, it's not.
Wario rides a motorcycle. Wario rides a motorcycle. God. It's so old news. You're living in the past, Evan
I'm
Davies.
not living in the past. You're living.
You're not looking at this new beautiful future.
Oh my
You're not
God.
looking at the new beautiful future where we have really cool, innovative racing game ideas that
You
we
are
put in
sounding-
Smash Brothers that have never been seen before.
You are sounding like a person that smokes weed, talking to someone who doesn't smoke weed in the 1930s, and it's reefer madness.
Look how cool this car is. Look how cool this car is.
It's not that cool at all.
It's a really cool car. It's a very cool car.
All right, I'm gonna be honest with you.
People
I love
driving this.
I love the
this car.
concept. I
Go ahead.
cannot support the Toyota. I can't support the Toyota. You want to make it more video game esque with like a true blue video game racer, not a real car from a video game that takes real cars. Fine.
Look at that.
It just
All
looks-
video games, all these games are using real cars.
and that's a problem.
It's like Auto Modelista. You want Auto Modelista instead? We can do that.
I'm going. This is
Well, let's
toss
look at
up for concept, not for Toyota itself. I got no beef with
pull
Toyota,
up,
the company, by the way. I have beef with the idea
You're
of
really
a Toyota.
hating on this Toyota thing.
I have beef with a Toyota in Smash Bros. As a playable character. I got
What
another
about this
thing.
guy, the one from Auto Modelista?
The
Look at
reason
that.
I just brought up Toadette
a
first
video
appeared
game.
in Mario Kart Double Dash. You could literally go, she's the racing person. So we're going to do the racing game with Toadette. I'd be like, down for it. Go for it. Or another character that usually
we can put her in the Toyota. That's fine. I'm happy to put Toadette in the Toyota.
We're moving
There's even
on.
like alliteration on the names.
We're
Toadette
moving on.
Toyota? Ooh, boy.
We are moving
Ooh,
on.
baby. That's good content. That's good stuff there.
Toyota concept toss up.
Hold on, I'll put it in the right spot.
Do you need me to be more? Do you need me to be more official right now? I'll put on the glasses for you.
Do I have any
Toyota
other
concept
glasses around here?
toss up.
I could throw. I mean, I'm seeing it in New Edition over here. That's where I see it, right next to Gaping Dragon.
Oh God.
This is a really cool tier list on my screen.
This is the most absurd tier list. Okay, so I want to say this. One, I disagree with your idea
Go
for the Toyota. But two, your tier list is exactly why I said I need to do this with Angie. Because I
Oh, yeah, 'cause
because
it's
I knew I
quality
was
good.
I knew I was gonna be accused of being Johnny Microsoft and not being that side outside of the box enough, and you were gonna come in with horse shit.
Oh yeah. I genuinely think that the Toyota would be a way funner addition than a lot of these other characters. I think that like
Again,
if there was a
the concept
imagining the
is
reveal
fine.
trailer, imagining that reveal trailer of the like boop boop, and then like Link and Mario are fighting and they both get ran the fuck over by a Toyota. How sick would that be?
The internet would lose its mind in not a good way. I want you to know that.
in the best way. It would be like Piranha Plant times 12. Oh man, look at this guy. This is a game that had balls.
That's a game that
Look
had
at that.
stupidity.
Oh yeah.
Is that Virtual Fighter? What it was?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Fighters Generation.
That
Something? I
sounds
don't know.
dumb as hell. There's a reason they probably don't make those anymore. All right, moving on.
Fighters Megamix. Yeah, move on.
All right.
It's in the correct spot on my list.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up. We'll start with a heavier hitter right now.
It is Fighters Megamix. Sorry, we may continue.
I'm gonna go straight to Crash Bandicoot. One, you get your mascot from PlayStation, the true PlayStation mascot that we've always discussed getting. It was kind of the reason, like, that was another reason why you won your Snake argument, and I agreed without much hesitation to put Snake into the Final 40. Crash is, if you're thinking of the era, Crash is truly the PlayStation mascot, even more than Spyro. The games work really, really well. They were part of the reason, they're one of the most popular reasons that on a kid level growing into teens that became the major market for video games, PlayStation took over as a huge player, was because of Crash and Spyro. And I think the moveset is already pre-made for you and has nostalgia, but also brings new elements to Smash Bros. Like, to get a bazooka cannon of Wampa Fruit would be absolutely rad. You can do the double jump belly flop, which is amazing. And it can be a different thing than you get with, like, the King K. Rool belly flop. The sliding attacks. I also thought to go off a racing element, even though I wouldn't go to Crash Team Racing on this, I definitely would want to put in a feature where you could ride the polar bear from Crash Bandicoot 2 as an attack. That'd be rad. I just think It's
Would
way too much, makes way too much sense, and Crash needs to take his spot in video game history in Smash.
would the final Smash be the boulder where you're running at the screen and you get
That
run over by a boulder?
So I'm of two minds of that. One, I think if you go like the cinematic Final Smashes that some people have because there's sometimes not a better
Mm-hmm.
alternative, that'd be really cool. I just think I prefer the ones that aren't cinematic in that
I think
unless
I do
they're
too.
just because I think it's more fun to have a more playable thing. I just think you
Mm-hmm.
immediately go invincibility Aku Aku and
Mm.
just tear it up. I think
It's
that'd be
like
really fun.
it's like it's basically like supersonic kind of thing.
Kind of, but then it's more tangible on the ground. Like your jumps go way higher. You just like you can still die technically during it if you wanted to say that, which is the only. It's just
Mm-hmm.
because even when you're invincible, you can still die in the game. Like I think that's kind of funny. In Crash Bandicoot, you're invincible, but if you fall into a pit, you're still
Mm-hmm.
done. Like I would
Yeah.
love if that was still in Smash, where it's just like no. Just by touching someone, you are going to wreck them for the 20 to 30 seconds you have that Smash Ball. But if you fall off the stage and can't get back up, that's a you problem. Like I love that
I
bit
I
of
have
comedy in it.
I have an important question.
Okay.
What sound does the mask make in Crash Bandicoot?
I think that's what it is.
One more time.
There you go.
Okay, good. I just wanted to hear
It's
it.
for the people. It's for the people.
It's for the people.
And also, I'm
I
not
always
gonna
said
lie.
abudubaga.
I also got a little bit of a Woonabaga.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got a little more of
Abudubaga.
a Woonabaga in there too. But
A Wimbawe.
yeah. Also, not gonna lie, it'd be another cheap way to get a character in because you could easily do a Coco skin. And then if you were gonna do the polar
Mm-hmm.
bear ride, you could put the tiger in for her instead of the polar bear, and it'd be also rad.
They already have Coco on your tier list right next to Crash.
Don't be hating on Dixie Kong like that, my friend. Don't be hating on Dixie Kong like that.
She's just uglier Coco.
That's hurtful.
Does she also use a computer?
Dixie Kong? I'd have to do
Yeah.
more research. I'm currently playing. By currently I mean I just started playing the other day. Donkey Kong Country 3 Diddy's or Dixie's whatever. Or it's
Oh,
Dixie.
interesting.
Well, it's on the Nintendo Online service, and I've always wanted to play the Donkey Kong Country games. But I've just like
Okay.
I've always been intrigued by Dixie Kong and Diddy Kong more than I have Donkey Kong. So
I get that.
I just think they're more visually interesting, and I really like
Mhm.
the hair twirling move that Dixie
Yeah,
has.
that's fun.
So it's just fun and bullshit. So where we
She's,
where
she's
we landing on?
basically Tiles and Crash's sister.
Interesting. Where are we landing
Um,
on Crash?
He's fine. He's good.
Outside looking in.
Outside
New
looking
edition,
in, outside looking
toss-up?
in seems outside looking in seems fair. I feel like, how do I word it? Part of what makes it a little bit weird is that like I think we care about Crash. Like anyone who's
Of our
10
age
years
group.
or younger than us. Yeah, anyone who's like 10 years or younger than us, like, probably just doesn't care about Crash at all. Because he's just like, whatever, he's that old man thing. And that's why it's outside looking in rather than new edition. Because it's like, yeah, like, some of us would care. I think a large portion of the new fan base probably wouldn't. But that's also like, that's fine.
I also think that would go really well with the idea that how it seemed Smash Ultimate for the DLC really did a like this region gets their favorite, this region gets a favorite, this region gets a favorite kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it almost like an age
This
group.
one's for the
it's like,
millennials.
this one's for the millennials. Like, because Master Chief doesn't have a full millennial grasp because it's stretched just long enough, and it's still, especially with the Halo show now, even though I've never watched it because
Yeah.
they break half the tenets of Halo right away. Like, Master Chief is still super present. Kratos is, again, one of the most popular characters of all time, well, of the time frame because of the new God of War franchise reboots. It's like they don't have that, you know. Whereas Crash is kind of everyone's always excited when a new Crash game comes out because it's the millennials going, "Oh, is this going to be good?" And the remake was fun, or the reboot franchise, it was fun, but it was again Exactly. It was just a porting with better graphics of the original 3. And the new one, I got through a level, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I need to play this. And I was super excited for that.
Yep,
So I get it, and
I get that.
I get the logic behind saying I don't know if that's the most important thing to the kids that are younger than we are, but I just think
The youths.
Crash needs to be represented in that, and I would throw the millennial bone to that. All right, I will continue
Mhm.
just because I think we're still at a 2-to-1 ratio of characters. Let's knock
Go
out
for it.
one. But I do want to get. This is going to be far more a you character than it is a me character because you have far more knowledge of this game than I do. I think it's time. I think Monster
Yeah.
Hunter. That's what I'm going to go
Oh, I thought
next.
I was doing the
Ah,
Doom music.
exactly. No,
Oops.
because I have a decent argument for that later. But Monster Hunter. I don't know
Hmm.
that much about Monster Hunter besides the base elements of the game, but I think a Monster Hunter rep needs to be represented. It's a huge franchise across a lot of different platforms, and
Hmm.
Rathalos also kind of stole the show in a little bit of ways.
Oh
Even with
yeah.
better boss fights, Rathalos kind of stole the show as a boss fight as well, and showed the popularity of Monster Hunter to a wider audience. Um,
Hmm.
I think Monster Hunter rep should be at least considered, but I think this is far more your wheelhouse than mine. This is kind of like when I threw Alucard in for you last show, where I was just like, I know Alucard, but it's his boy.
I will say for Monster Hunter, um, I think having Monster Hunter representation would be cool. I think the cool thing about Monster Hunter is the monsters more than the character,
Okay.
like the avatar. Like for example, getting Rathalos in the game was sick because Rathalos is an iconic monster for Monster Hunter.
Sure.
I think going the direction of finding more excuses to put other Monster Hunter monsters into Smash as boss fights might actually be more exciting than just like having a Monster Hunter character.
Yeah.
Like it there's a ton of really really awesome just like creature designs that comes from the Monster Hunter universe. So like if what happened instead of a like Monster Hunter character rep was something akin to a Monster Hunter spirit board that had 10 unique boss fights in it, like that would excite me way 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 more
I
than like
think I think
this
that's a
this
future
guy
show
with
then.
the 19 different weapons.
I think that goes
Yeah.
to a future show that we've already discussed because today it took all my power not to message you and say we're scrapping this episode for a little bit. I want to talk about boss fights. Because I was going through
Hmm.
and be like, that'd be a really cool boss fight. That'd be a really cool like I was just doing research into stuff, being like, that'd be really cool. That would be really cool. And I think that's another way that you may be able to skirt the line of characters that you'd want to represent their game, but the character is such an RPG character that people don't identify with. They're
Hmm.
like I could easily think I could probably make a better argument, as much as it would hurt me to not have the Dragonborn, to probably have Alduin from Skyrim in the game as a
Mm.
boss, because
Yeah.
that's the thing that you're fighting against versus like the Dragonborn being the
Um.
representative character. Same deal for you. Like Rathalos is probably more iconic than the Monster Hunter
Hunter.
character itself.
Yeah. Um. I was kind of smiling and laughing at the Alduin thing specifically because
It's just
I've
Rathalos.
got like 250 hours in Skyrim and I've never fought him
Are you
just because
serious?
I don't play the main campaign. That's not how I play those games. So like, I hear the name Alduin and I'm like, yeah, I think he's important to something with the story, but like,
Yeah.
no idea. Never got that far.
I also, I'm not gonna lie.
I've just done like everything else.
If I were gonna pick a Skyrim boss, I would probably go DLC based, and I'd go get Mirak, personally. But that's
I've
just
also not played the DLC.
the
I should do
DLC
that at
is
some point.
phenomenal. It was DLC done right because it also came out 18 months after the original game, so you could tell that the game was
Hmm.
fully cooked. The game mattered, and you did not need the DLC to have a wonderful experience in Skyrim and a full-fledged experience in Skyrim.
Hmm.
But then they started adding DLC 18 months later because they're like, "Hey, you want some new stuff? Here you go," and it makes us money and it makes you happy.
Here comes the new stuff.
And like that's to
I
me,
feel that.
I look at the Skyrim model, and that's another reason why Skyrim won me over so much as a fan was the fact that
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even really paying attention because, frankly, when they released the DLC, I didn't have internet service whatsoever outside of my phone, because I was
Hey,
that poor living on my own.
you were
My
broke.
my internet service was the local library, but it just won me over so much
Convenient.
because it showed that, like, hey, it's so crazy to say a corporation or a game studio cares about people, but in a weird way, it kind of shows that we care. It's like we poured our heart and soul into this game, and now we're going to give you extra, but at least it doesn't feel like it bothers me when a new Pokemon game comes out now, and like I want DLC, I want more of the game, but the like
Mm-hmm.
on launch they're like, and DLC's coming within a year. You're like, then why didn't you just put it in the fucking game to begin with? Why didn't you take 6 months and put it in the fucking game? Like, come
Mm-hmm.
on.
I get what you're saying. How do I word it? I'm not too mad at it, I guess. Like at a certain point, like
It's also optional. I get it, but it's
the
just like,
people plan their dev cycles around DLC nowadays. Like that DLC was never intended to be in the base game. They always knew what the base game was going to be. They always knew what they were going to like make and sell as DLC afterwards. Like I think the days of like developers cutting content from the base game to sell as DLC like just don't really happen the same way anymore
sure,
because it's so part of everyone's business plan from like before a game is even pitched they have figured out what the DLC is going to be.
yeah.
Like it's that kind of thing. So like I'm not too beat up about it. But to bring us back to Monster Hunter, honestly like for the character itself, I'd be cool just throwing it in because like the character
Wow.
itself doesn't need to be in the game. Like there's cooler things we could do with Monster Hunter as a series.
I'm gonna put it in. I guess they could do that because I would like to have it represented and shown that, and I don't think it deserves the disrespect that
Mm-hmm.
Jonesy does.
Oh, what was Jonesy? Yeah, just fucking it's Fortnite. I agree.
Exactly. That's everybody's reaction, and even the people that I'm
Yeah.
not like, people that know I was doing this in my personal life that also kind of
Mm-hmm.
do video games. They're like, yeah. They're like, well, we understand why you
Yeah.
brought it up. It's Fortnite. Fortnite's super popular and like it represents the genre, but like, fuck Jonesy. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just like that was the only way I thought of that you could represent Fortnite with that character was with the character like that. So, alrighty.
Peter Griffin.
Oh God, you're up.
Um, let's go with a. I'll go with a more middle of the road pick.
Okay.
Um, and this is partly a representation of a not series, but I guess like a world, a mood more than anything. And it is Wander from Shadow of the Colossus.
Ooh.
Wander
Okay.
falls under the Phase for Gamers category. So I think that Wander is interesting because there would probably be some thematic overlap with a character like Link,
Okay.
but I feel like it would be a slightly more grounded representation of something like that. I think that something that would be interesting to represent is one of the core mechanics in Shadow of the Colossus is climbing,
Yeah.
and that would be a weird, nifty thing to try and implement. What are the ways that like climbing could come in and the grip meter could be like relevant to the character? I think that whatever as someone who enjoys video games, I just think Shadow of the Colossus is really cool.
Well,
And
it's
this is
a
another one of those examples of
it's a hallmark of boss fights. Like every time I've never played Shadow of the Colossus, but I know plenty about Shadow of the Colossus because how many people, when a boss fight idea comes up, they're like, "Yo, Shadow of the Colossus, though, right?"
mhm.
And you're like, you have to give it credit for how ingenious that concept was, especially when it first came out. And it was so unique and different.
And that's where like I was going with it is like similar to the Monster Hunter thing. I think part of what makes this particularly cool is the idea of this being a representation of the universe of it and having some of those colossuses in the game. And also the music. Like having the music in the game would be really cool. Like the character himself, Wander, I think like would play style would be very sword and bow centric, which
Okay.
like we have in other characters. But like I think that what could be interesting is like this as a substitute for something like a the main character from Dark Souls. Like that's something people have said they wanted is like, oh, we want Dark Souls representation. It should be
Yeah.
like the Elite Knight. And like I think the ways people imagine the move set for an Elite Knight probably apply similarly to a character like Wander.
Okay.
So like a heavier, more grounded, like sword play style with the big value add being the stage. I'm imagining the stage of like what a Shadow of the Colossus thing would be, and having this battle on the back of a giant, and like in the middle of the battle, like the giant collapsing and then another Colossus sweeping down underneath, and like now you're flying on like the back of the bird and fighting there. Like
Yeah.
there's a really cool idea within there.
That
So yeah, that's
the
my little pitch.
the concept is rad. I think you're going more into the territory of Monster Hunter Rep again. Because I've never
Mm-hmm.
played Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know that much about Wanderer as a character. But I know the boss fights and the pitch for the stage is amazing. The entire time you were talking, it was almost hard for me to listen to because I immediately was really excited by the prospect of both the stage and the potential boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd be almost better suited to this would be a lot, and I think it kind of almost negates the core concept of Smash Bros. A little bit. One of the reasons Smash Bros. Is really cool is when you see a character on stage, unless it's specifically a boss fight,
Mm-hmm.
is all those characters are playable. And I think it'd be kind of rude to show a bunch of different characters that you can't play as, that besides obvious
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you can't do. Like, but I would almost be cool if like in a story mode to justify all these boss fights we want to put in through story,
Mm-hmm.
you have like you just get dropped in with your character and you're just like right next to Wanderer and you're like, holy shit, like that's Wanderer from
Mm-hmm.
fucking Shadow of the Colossus. Am I gonna unlock him?
Mm-hmm.
No, but like,
Nope.
so I'm like
He's
that
basically like an assist trophy. That'll be
that'd be
fine.
rough. But you could definitely put the
Mm-hmm.
assist trophy in. You could definitely put some other stuff in to get that rep in and then go forth. Like I think that'd be another great way for us to transition out of this topic into another one is go, okay, what characters did we absolutely love and we want to represent their games, their assist trophies and their me costumes now. But we're going to take
Mm-hmm.
other core elements of their game and put them in as something else very consequential in the game. I think Wanderer is
Yeah,
probably that category for me personally,
I think
but
so too.
that's where I would go
I'm gonna
with
throw
that.
him into. I guess they could do that because I
Yeah.
think that the conversational direction is more of a like what his series represents is cooler than what he alone as a character does.
I think we're now, ironically, after talking about Smash Bros. We're probably on what, hour 7 or hour 8 now in the last month of us doing this. The funny
Mm-hmm.
part is, I think we're finally starting to probably sound a little bit like the discussions in the Nintendo Bandai Namco Sora Limited, like, actual room, where they're like,
Yeah,
what
in those
about this
discussion
character?
rooms.
And it's just like, yeah, that'd be rad. And then people start thinking of, like, trying to get the character in. They're like, actually, it's better if we do this than if we did. It's probably what they had with
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter. They probably wanted to put a Monster Hunter rep in, and they're like, "We're gonna do boss fights again on a bigger scale.
I like.
Let's just do
I like
Rathalos
to
instead."
imagine. I like to imagine that these are the exact same conversations that are happening at Bandai Namco,
Probably not though.
and that there is someone who's fighting very, very hard for the Toyota car. There's
That's
someone
when
at Bandai Namco
that's
at
when
Sora Limited
all
right
hope
now
of
who
realism is dead.
pulled a knife out and was ready to like shank a motherfucker over the death of the Toyota 11 car.
I feel like that's the employee
It's a
that
cool
got
car.
fired on day 4. But
But he'll be back. He'll be back and the building will burn.
naturally, all right, we will move on with
You're up, buddy.
mine. Hit your music this time. I'll bring it up this time for realsies.
Okay. Um.
Different music than last time. That's okay. We're gonna go with the Doom Slayer, Doom guy from Doom.
Yay!
Again,
The Doom Marine.
something you're far more familiar with than I am, but I did do my notes with it, and another reason why I want to do it. One, we talked about horror games not being represented very well. We hit it with the Nemesis now, but
Mhm.
there is a weird crossover of horror games and Doom. It's not it transitions in and out of horror through their gaming history. I remember Doom 3 was very much Alone in the Dark.
Doom 3 is definitely the horror one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where my first intro to actually looking at it and kind of playing with it a little bit was. Um,
Mm-hmm.
However, I would say this. There is, unless you are counting Samus from Metroid Prime, there is no first-person
Mm-hmm.
shooter rep whatsoever in Smash Bros. So if you're going to put Doom Guy in, you get the
Think about that.
first-person shooter element in there. You represent another style of gaming or another genre of gaming. And did not know this until about 5 hours ago. The first time Doom was ever ported and released, it was through the UW Madison server. And as a good old Wisconsin boy, that makes me very happy.
I will say this: if we're gonna
Homeland!
throw Doom Guy in there, hey, get it, show that's head off. Um, if Doom Guy's going in, I feel like Mr. Chef comes out.
Ooh. Why?
There's a lot of lab to. It's literally Doom Guy's.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh. We're losing you.
we're going to do base attack stuff. I think that yeah, I also lose. Basically, just they're both green robot men in
Okay.
like green armor, and like they're both gun related and specifically like first person shooter representatives. Um, like just looking at these two right next to each other, if you said like one was a skin for the other, I would believe you.
Fair.
So who would you
I could see
who
that,
would
but
you
I
keep who
also
would you keep
think,
between the two?
I mean, if you're forcing me to, I'm gonna go. I'll sound like Johnny Microsoft. I would pick Chief, although I think Doom Guy's probably better. Like I'm of two minds of this. What's better for the game, the icon, or the probably more accurate
Mm-hmm.
representation of the genre and getting a real different feel? Because like Doom Guy does have a lot of history that even Master Chief doesn't have to that genre, being since
Yeah.
it released in 1993. It's got a full decade almost before Halo. Doom is obviously inspiration to all first person shooters after it. It's kind of the high watermark of its era.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Doom Guy, along with almost every other character in gaming, does not have the cachet and the icon status that the Chief does. Like, there's a reason we were
Mm-hmm.
like, we both had Master Chief on our list because we're like, yeah. And we weren't even like, we
I feel
both
like
love
if
Halo and
we
we weren't even that excited about it, but we were both like, we gotta have this discussion.
I will say comparing the two, I do think that demons are cooler than aliens.
Yes.
So like if I had to pick one based on how the universe representation would happen, I'd probably pick Doom Guy just because there's a lot of freaky little guys that exist in Doom. But the the Johnny Microsoft angle is like obviously you have to pick Master Chief.
Yes.
And also like it's not like Halo is not incredibly important and iconic to like first person shooting video games as well. Like
Yes.
Doom was the PC FPS. GoldenEye was the console FPS, but then Halo was like the console FPS that like made it real,
Yeah.
like made it like a legit like oh this is like where FPSs should be played moving forward kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Here's my thing. I think we put them both in outside looking in, and then we just make the discussion because also there are characters.
And then they
It
fight
goes.
at
It
the
goes
end.
back to your first discussion when we went Final 40. We were like, "There's three Mario's. There's Mario. There's Doctor Mario, and there's Green Mario." And now Luigi's a full-fledged different character. You can make them different. They're gonna play similarly because they are first-person shooter characters, but you can do different things, and they can have different gadgets and tools to allow it. Like for instance, I was going through some of the um, weapons available in Doom. It'd be really cool to have like a parry move as the hologram, where like you dash back as the Doom guy, but the hologram comes up that's supposed to distract the aliens. So it's like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
hit something. Wait, no, I didn't. And then that guy's like the character playing the Doom Slayer would be able to just be like, fuck you, like immediately. That would be interesting. Where do we land on Doomslayer? I think outside looking in is a good one, and then you make the distinction later. Personally,
What if what if we didn't do Master Chief and we did Nicole 458 instead?
Nicole 458. So Master
Yeah.
Chief, but it's a woman.
It's
with none of the
it's the
cachet.
Spartan from Soul Calibur. It's the Spartan from Soul Calibur.
Spartan from Soul Calibur. It's not Chief.
Yeah. No, it's Nicole 458.
What's the point?
See?
You lose half the cachet and you have the same problem we were just talking about.
Yeah, but you get representation. Well, you want another? You want
But I'm
another
gonna
white man in
I'm
the
gonna
game,
get more
Evan?
I'm gonna get more
Of course you do.
representation in some of these other ones.
Of course you do.
Oh great. Now I'm gonna be accused
Yeah,
of
I
that.
bet you are.
Can't wait for
No,
that.
no, no.
Now watch, of all the videos I've made over the past year plus, this is gonna be the thing that blows up and people are like, wow, another white racist out there. Thanks, bud.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna get canceled.
Whatever.
Sure. You said outside looking in?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. That's what I'm looking at. All right. I'm gonna continue my. I will continue with. I'll go new because I think we can do rapid fire truly on the ones that we discussed before as just assist trophies or whatever. They already appear in Smash though. Let's go with the Ring Fit Trainer.
Real quick,
Yes, go for it.
I need to make a correction.
Yes.
She is not from Soul Calibur. She's from Dead or Alive.
It makes it even less relevant in my opinion. We're gonna go Ring Fit Trainer. Ring Fit Trainer, I think
RFT.
we did lose Wii Fit Trainer in our final 40 cut. So I think it'd be fun to get motion games and active games back on, activity-based games back in to our wheelhouse. Fun fact, top 11 seller all time of Nintendo Switch sales was Ring Fit Adventure. 15.4 million copies sold of that goddamn game. And I just think it's a more visually interesting version of the Wii Fit Trainer, which is already a unique character that we both come to love. You get different elements with the fire basis and the weapon basis to it. I've never played the game, but I think it hits a wheelhouse that we'd both be interested in as players, and also many other people would be interested in it. So that's why I've nominated Ring Fit Trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played
Ring Fit Trainer? Yeah, I've played before.
Oh, okay.
It's cool. Ring Fit is cool. How are we going to represent the COVID-19 pandemic within the character? Because a big part of that game's success was the fact that it happened during pandemic times.
Yes.
So how do we represent that?
That's a great question. We don't. We just do what every major corporation did, and we just pretend that the pandemic never happened.
There should be an item that we add to the game that's a face mask.
I'm fine for it, but then our game immediately gets canceled for being political. Smash Bros.
Good.
Smash Bros.
We don't want them to buy it anyway.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the community would be a lot less toxic.
Money.
I mean, no, I don't want racist money either.
I don't know. You didn't want Nicole in the game.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I'm having a blast.
I'm sure you
Yeah, Ring Fit Trainer's cool. She's, how do I word it? I do think that Wii Fit Trainer or the Wii Fit... Yeah, Wii Fit Trainers, right? Her design is cooler in terms of, like, she's like a flat 2D thing translated to like a 3D model representation, which is cool. But I think that like it is a very clear legacy and lineage being carried forward. And I do think that the addition of the actual ring opens up some fun ideas for moveset stuff and cool little gameplay combat ideas.
Well, I also know there's a lot of fire basis in that game for attacks and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
That would be quite interesting and fun.
Because you're burning up.
So that's why I'd argue it.
Plus, you could also get the Muscle Dragon, and he could be a little boss fight.
Interesting.
That Muscle Dragon is the coolest thing in the world. Have you seen him?
No, I think maybe I've seen one shot of Muscle Dragon.
If you saw that, you probably would have had him be your rep because he is the coolest. Look at this. Do you see on my screen?
I am seeing it on your screen. Jesus Christ.
Look at this guy.
It looks like if Nintendo wanted to cartoon up and then put in an actual cartoon the rendering from Dracula in the second form of Dracula in Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's what that looks like.
Yeah. But this guy also just does like a bunch of push-ups and crunches and stuff.
True.
Like when you see him in game, you just see him like doing workouts. It's cool.
Interesting. All right, where are we landing on Ring Fit Trainer?
Ring Fit Trainer.
I'm not passionate about it.
I think it's cool.
But I think it's cool.
I think it's cool. I would put Ring Fit Trainer in before I would put Kratos in.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm going to put her in outside looking in before Kratos.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know if
How do
I
you feel
would.
about that?
I would probably veer the same way, but for very different reasons.
Oh yeah.
Like I would definitely argue as a fan, I want Kratos in more. But also my brain that likes it being Nintendo centric would probably be like, makes sense. Like I would probably pick Ring Fit Trainer over Kratos from that standpoint. But from who I actually want to play as, I definitely want Kratos more than I want Ring Fit Trainer.
Have you played the new God of War game?
No, but I make it an event every time it's released. I sit down for 8 hours and watch every single second of the cutscenes by myself.
And watch through the playthrough?
And it's amazing. It's also because I don't have a PlayStation, so I'm like,
That's what I was thinking.
I'm Johnny Microsoft over here with my Xbox.
They should make an Xbox port of it.
It would be really appreciated if they did. Here's how much I'm into that franchise. I can every time it comes out, I consider buying a PlayStation just to go play it.
When you say every time it comes out, do you mean any before these latest two?
No. That and then
the
new Spider-Man,
these two games,
and the new Spider-Man games at least kind of get me to think about it. But that's about it. That's why I'm like, every time one comes out, because those come out a lot more regularly. But it's
that makes more sense. There were 3 of those.
It's really God of War. I'm like, I don't know, might be worth it. And I'm like, no, it's not.
First game's cool.
Did you not play Ragnarok or not know Ragnarok yet?
I haven't played Ragnarok now. Is Ragnarok playable on the PS4? Is there a PS4 version of that game?
I don't think so. I think it's PS5 exclusive.
I thought there was. Let me check that real quick. God of War Ragnarok PS4. Yeah, there's a PS4 version.
Oh wow, interesting.
You could probably get a used PS4 and just play through those games.
Think about it.
They've also got Spider-Man.
True.
Let's see next up on the list.
It's up for you. It's up to you now.
So, yep, I got it. So, I was thinking about the range of representation.
Okay.
And something we don't have represented as well. We've been getting more representation as we've continued this conversation, but before we started this conversation, was the adult audience. And I think of a character like Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm.
Bayonetta stands out as like
that's an
explicitly adult character, an adult representative, and like doesn't necessarily skew away from the sexuality. But what if we had something like a Bayonetta for men rather than for women? Which brought me to Leisure Suit Larry.
What?
Leisure Suit Larry. I mean, he could probably go in the Glover category too. He jerks off a lot.
What the hell is Leisure Suit Larry?
Do you not know Leisure Suit Larry?
Maybe I do. I don't know.
Oh man, I didn't think I was gonna have to explain Leisure Suit Larry, but Leisure Suit Larry was like old point-and-click adventure games that were like super duper horny.
Adult-themed sex comedy video game. That is literally the first thing when I Google it.
It's like an adult-themed sex comedy video game where he's like some like older sleazebag dude who's just like trying to hook up with women, and there's like little mini games where like he like nuts on them and stuff like that.
Jesus Christ!
And if we're gonna have Bayonetta in the game, I feel like if we want to be like properly representative of the men, we need to also have Leisure Suit Larry.
So I'm immediately gonna say nah on that one. Then
I'm gonna move him out of Glover and into Dr. Money. Because I think there's a lot of young men who are growing up right now who really relate to the idea of jerking off. And I feel like there's a lot of people who would feel very seen and represented by a character like Leisure Suit Larry because one of his moves would be that he would jerk off.
All right, so you've immediately made this unattainable. It's a nah.
So you know how
I'm gonna be
with
Randy
Samus,
Jackson on this one. It's a no for me, dog.
when Samus holds the B button
Uh huh.
and then her thing like charges up,
Yep.
and then once it's fully charged, you hit it again, and then.
Hmm.
Psh. I think for Leisure Suit Larry, he can also hold the B button, and he's like.
The worst part is I knew this was coming.
But then when
The
it's
whole
fully
time.
charged,
Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm just saying the movesets map. They make sense. The movesets are appropriate and relevant.
I'm really
So
glad. I'm really glad the internet is finally getting to see you for who you are. This is the
I'm
most
putting Leisure Suit
Angelo
Larry
chaos
here.
pick I've ever heard.
I am surprised you didn't know who Leisure Suit Larry
I
was.
knew it once I saw the picture. I was like, oh yeah, I think I remember that sleazy game, but like never played it. Have no idea about it.
Um, so who are we pulling out of the new edition list to put Leisure Suit Larry in?
Leisure Suit Larry doesn't even deserve to be in the nah category. He deserves to be in a absolutely not. Don't even think about it.
I Are you like anti jerking off? Are
No,
you one of those no fap people? Then
no.
what is with this Leisure Suit Larry hate?
It's called I'm trying to sell a video game here, dude.
And Bayonetta doesn't work?
We talked about one of the reasons we talked about loving Bayonetta so much from a
Mm-hmm.
Smash Bros. Angle is it doesn't shy away from the sexuality, but
Yeah.
it also does not flaunt it so much that you're like, Jesus Christ. It fits perfectly. It's honest to the character without making it way too overt. You want to,
Yeah.
and the first thing you Google when you Google Bayonetta is not going to be overt sex stuff. When you go to the images, it probably will be because that's what the internet does with every image. But Leisure Suit Larry,
Mm-hmm.
immediately the first thing that comes up is sex adult comedy game. Like,
Yeah. Um, I
I'm sorry.
mean,
Let me
if you're
let
worried
me be
about
accurate.
how
Adult themed
yeah.
sex comedy video game.
So if you're worried about the overtness of the sexuality, I would be comfortable with us having like a mosaic blur filter
No,
that like they put over the genitals so that you can't see it.
this is a
Because I feel like if the issue is like, oh, it's too horny, like you don't have to see it. It's fine to not see it.
no.
I just think that it's men's time.
But I'm the problematic person here. Next character, move on.
Where'd you put him?
I didn't. I put him on on my paper copy.
On a separate paper one? Okay, cool.
Well, I'm keeping notes of the stuff that I can't like put on screen. So yeah, no.
Um,
That is a
he was in
Project M level goof. Like that's what that is. That's like I made this fan made part. Dude, did you see Leisure Suit Larry's in it? No way. Someone goes and checks it out. They play with it once, then they're like, don't need to play as Leisure Suit Larry ever again.
they had a game that came out in like the PS2 era, and it was called Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Loud because it was like a sorority thing. Pretty cool, huh?
Hilarious. That
Pretty
also
cool.
sounds so mid 2000s on the nose. I don't know if you could have hit more mid 2000s on the nose.
That is basically an American Pie movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Alrighty.
All right, you're up.
Jesus Christ. Okay, my next character that I'm going to nominate to go, I'm going to go with Urbosa from Breath of the Wild. Technically, I guess, makes very, very, very tiny appearances in Tears of the Kingdom. Technically, I guess. One, I would.
Cutscene memories.
I
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah, I think. One of the four champions, I think she's the most achievable, playable, and fun of what could be possible. Because although I think Rivali is the most interesting, I just can't conceptualize Rivali being super fun and nailing the character very well. Where Bose, I think you could do pretty well. Also, we haven't really added any sword fighter yet, which is kind of crazy. And I'm not against more sword fighters. I'm against more Fire Emblem for the sake of Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem characters.
But I think the lightning power, especially that we didn't add someone like a Raiden, would be really interesting. And half the moveset that you could just straight up ape it from Hyrule Warriors and be super fun from that hack and slash style. of play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the dancing, spinning movements that she have would be really fun conceptually to play as, with how much her attacks are overtly powerful and not
Mm-hmm.
nearly as much as Bayonetta, but it has a hair of that Bayonetta. Like, it's not as if Urbosa's like outfit is something that is very conservative either,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also not
Mm-hmm.
like the first thing about Urbosa is not, yo, look at this sexy character. You're like, no, look at this really uber powerful warrior woman who will just beat the shit out of people and slice her up to no end.
That's hotter anyway.
So
So I
I went
like
with
the
Urbosa.
idea. I like the idea of Urbosa being in there as well as a. I think it would be fun to do like Urbosa versus Ganon as
Yep.
like a kids role playing thing of what if there's a girl Gerudo versus the boy Gerudo. That's cool.
Yep.
I think back to being the youthful Angelo who was playing Smash Bros alone because none of his other friends played Super Smash Brothers, and like staging battles with two separate controllers of having Link fight Ganondorf
That's
and like role
awesome.
playing those
That's so
characters. And like
wholesome.
when I see like Urbosa, I'm imagining little kid Angelo having one of those scenarios of like, and then Urbosa came and helped Link fight Ganondorf, and they were able to win. And like that's a fun little memory.
Yeah.
I could see that happening for kids.
Well, especially if we add a Sheik Zelda combo back, you could have 3v1 battles of Link, Zelda, and a champion versus Ganon. That'd also be really fun. And that'd be perfect tailor made
Super
for like
sick.
boss fights and stuff like that, or like adventure mode type
Mm-hmm.
things, which would also be really.
Yeah. I love the what were they called in Melee? The like challenges or whatever?
Yeah, like the adventure mode challenges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
That mode was sick. I love the hell out of it. I mean, it's basically spirits is like
yeah,
how that got reintroduced, but
I just miss the platforming elements of it. Even though they weren't really that big and they were sometimes obnoxious, I wish there was more of like a world to go through. Whereas like World of Light is a 2D map drawn really well and you just run on it and then new fights appear. I would like to have a little
so
bit more in that story. I'd really love to go to Subspace. I'd like to go a little bit a more upgraded version of Subspace Emissary than I would World of Light in a new story mode. It'd also be very cool.
so I'm not talking about adventure mode in Smash. I'm actually talking about the event matches. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. I
We're
thought
gonna
the
look
event
into
matches were like supremely cool. Were there event matches in Brawl? Oh my god, I did not know there were event matches in Brawl.
I think so.
I might just play that. That's sick.
There you go.
Oh, I remember these. Those were fun. Okay, I remember these. Melee was the one where I got super into it, but event matches are kind of the coolest thing in those games. Whatever. Obviously, I feel strongly about Spirit stuff. I made a whole goddamn program for homebrewing your own versions of them, but
Interesting. Didn't even know
where does
that.
Urbosa land?
I love
Yeah, you do. You know
Urbosa.
the Yes We Do program.
I don't think we've ever discussed that to my memory, but I believe you. And it
What?
makes me feel better.
When I was between jobs, when I like spent a bunch of time making a like whole program for like making your own spirit battles and modding them into Smash.
That's super
I think
cool.
I made a spirit battle of you and brought it on one of our trips and like showed it to you.
I don't recall this at all, but you do a lot of wild shit involving me and then just bring it to me
That's
and then I
crazy.
have to react to it.
Interesting. Okay, that's funny.
I love Urbosa
Um,
enough to go straight to New Edition, but there's some heavy
Boom,
hitters
it's
on
done.
that outside looking in right now.
Nah, she's stronger than them.
You want to go
She's
all the
in
way?
the new edition.
Yes!
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just want Breath of the Wild champion. It was really hard for me because I wanted to fight for all four of them, and then I had to slowly go, okay, who makes it?
Ten.
Who makes it? And for me, like, I think we're gonna somehow add heavies. So I was like, Daruk, eh. Mifa, I
Got it.
think is
Sure.
I think Mifa is the most interesting story character outside of Rivali, but probably the least interesting as a fighter possibility. Rivali is the one that really I stuck to because I was like, I think he's the most character-driven, interesting. Conceptually would be really cool, but would be really hard in my mind to like really capture the character and work as a Smash Bros. Character. Where Urbosa, I can easily see it working, being extremely visually interesting, being really fun to play as, and also just like Urbosa kicks ass. Out of all four, when you look at it, you're just like, Urbosa
She's the coolest
kicks ass.
of the four.
And like the thunder powers, the lightning powers, great.
And she's tall and buff and has a big nose, and that's awesome.
Interesting. All right, we're gonna go with my next one. I'm gonna actually skip the 5 that I have down there and go to one that we cut before, but it wasn't because we didn't want them included. It's because we wanted in the game in a new capacity. Okay. I think I will fight you tooth and nail if we say no. We need to get a Pokemon trainer in this game.
You're on this still. Okay.
And also, I went through and made some possible teams. I think one, it'd be cool if you could unlock more. I think the idea that we brought up in the past, where you go Pokemon Stadium-esque, where there's 6 choices and you pick 3 beforehand, and then like your opponent doesn't know what they're about to fight. Super cool concept. Hits more of the actual Pokemon game.
If I can cut in quick.
Yes.
Are we going to have a character redesign like conversation at some point? The only reason I mention is that like
probably.
I don't know if this is the place for the Pokemon trainer conversation.
Yes, we've been talking about it in this one specifically, which is why I was like, well, I'm going to bring it up then. But I am totally down for just doing that in another one, calling it a day, and just saying it's going to make it somehow.
If we're going to have a redesign conversation, then I think that would be the place for it. Because I remember we had a few other characters that we were talking about. Like, we would like to include them, but we'd want to do something different with them.
Okay.
Like, there's the Luigi talk, there's the Zero Suit Samus, there's the Pokemon trainer.
There's Daisy.
I don't know if that's like its own
thing.
There's
Sheik Zelda.
There's Daisy. Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So, all right, we'll skip that. That's fine. I just needed Pokemon trainer to be known. I will fight you tooth and nail to get that fucking character back in.
You like Pokemon or something?
Yeah, who would have thought? I know.
Yeah, weird.
Who would have thought whatsoever back there?
Those aren't yours. Those are your wife's.
Shut up. All those cards are
She's
mine.
a bigger Pokemon fan than you.
Okay, let's calm the fuck down there. Also, it's hard
You just spend more money on it.
That is accurate, but that doesn't mean she's a bigger fan than I am.
I don't know.
I spend a lot of money on Pokemon. Also, to invite people on the channel to go watch it, but you can see it. Do you remember my friend Jeff is married to Laura? Like, I think you've met him once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Randomly out of nowhere, he just sent me 5 classic Pokemon cards. And when I say classic, he sent me base set Charizard.
Hell yeah!
And he went, I don't think it's that good condition. I'm like, Jeff, are you out of your mind? Like, it's still a base set Charizard. And he's like, it's fine. I was like, okay, thanks. I'll get dinner next time we see each other, but like, thank you.
Smart.
But it's like base set Charizard, base set Venusaur, and then Neogenesis, which is the first Gen 2 set, Meganium, Froligator, and Typhlosion. He sent me all 5 of those, just like out of the blue. I was like,
where's Blastoise at? It's not to look a gift horse in the mouth.
I was about to say, come on.
He was so close. He was so close to having all of them. It's just a weird omission.
The thing is this. The completionist in me was like, one away, darn. But like the friend was like, this is so generous and so kind. Like,
that's a genuinely awesome and kind
that is
gift.
So wonderful for someone to do.
But
the completionist in me is like,
got you.
You're just like, very Seinfeld.
The other aspect of the gift that he got you is the obligation to now go find a Blastoise on your own. Because now you also just have to do that.
Well, I was gonna do it anyways, as if it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'll skip Pokemon Trainer for then. We'll go another. We have so many episodes now to do. It's gonna be fun. I didn't know we were doing a whole Smash podcast series, but this is gonna be super fun. I will go with the most off the wall of these characters. Then I'm gonna go Paper Mario.
Hey, cool guy.
I think Paper Mario pushes the creativity a lot more. Get an RPG element in there. You would do the same for Geno, which is gonna be kind of hard for me to justify both of them, I guess. I'm realizing this now in my head. But you get You definitely don't get Minecraft Steve, but you get a hair of the creativity of Paper Mario with the Minecraft Steve kind of ideology behind it. It's also really fun the amount of stuff you could do with more paper figures popping up. Like I
Hmm.
know Goombas will actually help you in that game. Koopa Troopers will help you in that game. Like it's all based on the character of the game. It's not just well they're bad guys so they don't like me in this kind of thing.
Hmm.
I also love and adore the idea of Paper Mario's movement on a stage. I think that like
Hmm.
just turning around and it just going like like that would
It's
be
so
a
good.
and just being really thin for that split second where it's just paper thin would be so much fun. And just
Hmm.
the movements and the elements would be really fun. I also think the stage could be really enjoyable with like things folding, especially like the Origami King. Is that the title
Yeah,
of that last one? Where like you can
that
have
is. Yeah,
someone in the background, you can have hands coming down, folding new parts of the stage and putting it there. That'd be really
that's a really fun
adorable
idea.
and
I
enjoyable.
liked it a lot.
But I just think if you, one thing I did really think about because I still have three Mario reps technically up for debate was the
Uh
reason
huh.
we took Piranha Plant over the other ones was how absurd and unique of a character
So
that
cool.
Piranha Plant is. And I think
Hmm.
all three of them represent something very different in Mario and could play very differently than any other Mario character is.
Hmm.
And like to a degree, I've always said like you need meat and potatoes characters. A lot of the Mario reps are your meat and potatoes characters. So
Hmm.
to go off the wall with something like a Paper Mario or a Geno or a Captain Toad or Toadette would be really interesting. And I just love the amount of different things you don't see in traditional Mario games that you do in Paper Mario and can be used to your advantage as a player in a Smash context.
Hmm.
That'd be fun.
When I think of the paradigm of the Mario, Dr. Mario, Green Mario, and the Link, Young Link, Toon Link
Yeah,
aspects, like I like the idea of a Paper Mario in terms of if you're going to have a second representative of a character, do something totally different with it.
yes,
And like Mario feels like that. Like if Dr. Mario got his neck snapped and was replaced with a Paper Mario, I think that's a much more interesting game than the
absolutely,
alternative version of it. Um,
absolutely.
Also, just the Thousand Year Door is one of my favorite games ever. So Paper Mario, new edition, boom boom.
I have never played a Paper Mario game, mind you. I've tried it. Well, I've tried it technically through the Switch Online service, but I just find it visually so fun and interesting. I've made an
They're
entire.
doing that remake of the Thousand Year Door, and you should absolutely play that because that game is excellent.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of Nintendo games when I was a kid, not having a Nintendo system, like
Hmm.
now as an adult, a concept can draw me to play it. Whereas a kid, a
Hmm.
concept wasn't enough to go justify buying a console and going to buy the game. And
Yeah, and
like,
also I just didn't have money, so
yeah, well, that too.
I
Like,
couldn't do it if I wanted to.
I had no money, and like saving up all my
Hmm.
money to go buy a new console, like saving all my money for a year to buy a new console for a game that I wasn't even sure I was gonna like, not a real possibility. Also, I made a really cool. It's at work, so I don't think I've ever showed it to you. But I made a really cool Paper Mario art piece, and it's just inspired me because it's on my desk every single day. It's like I don't know, like a foot by like 6 inches to 8 inches tall. Um,
Hmm.
it's just it always inspires me every day that I'm just like what a cool idea, what a cool concept Paper Mario is. And I just adore it.
Can can I? How do I word this? Can I request or can I share something for you to add in the description of this YouTube video when you post it?
Sure.
Um, so way back in the day, I used to do a bunch of like screenshots and modding stuff with The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker,
Okay. Super cool.
and I would post that stuff on Tumblr. And I ran into a modder who had a Tumblr account on the Great Sea. Her username is Hypatia,
Okay.
Hypatia, and she did really incredible work doing new texture packs for Wind Waker. She took those talents and carried them forward into Super Mario 64, where she built out a full texture pack that retextures the entire game to give it a Mario crafting, a like Mario papercraft aesthetic.
That's really cool.
And I think It is the coolest goddamn thing in the world. So since that happened, that was like years and years ago. It was probably like 6 to 8 years ago that originally happened. People modders have made a decompilation of Super Mario 64, which means that they were able to rebuild the game as a native PC game. So you can play Super Mario 64 on your PC right now and like run it as like an executable. So you don't have to emulate it or anything like that. You can run Super Mario 64 like .exe. Um, the Where those two ideas meet and come together is that people have ported her Paper Mario Craft texture mod to that version of the game, and now you can play the game at like 4K resolution, 120 frames per second, with this absolutely gorgeous like paper aesthetic to the entire game. And I think it is one of the coolest ways to play the game.
That's really cool. That's
so I'm going
cool
to link a YouTube video in our chat, and I think that is it's a really cool aesthetic, and it's a really cool thing in terms of like just gaming community coming together and like expressing their creativity all over the screen, and like the end result being just like something so human and so personable from something that like everyone has a touch point of, which is like Super Mario 64. And like, it's the coolest thing in the world. So I just wanted to, I want to give a little bit of shine to that.
That's awesome, and yes, I will put it in the description. And I also just want to see it, so it's cool. But business, where do you feel Paper Mario goes?
Oh, I threw him right into New Edition.
Wow. Okay, I'm on a hot streak. I'm usually the one that doesn't get many of these done.
Paper Mario, he's a good guy.
I also forgot how much you adore Thousand Year Door, so
good.
That also makes sense. We now have 6 new additions already. Now we're down to my 4 that have definitely been in the game, but you got more characters. So how many do you have left? Do you have 3 left or 2 left?
I have 3 left.
Okay, go for it. Let's shoot me 2, and I'll do 2, and then we'll do our last round. If we're up for it.
If I'm shooting you 2, then I'll go with what was the last one I did? Was it Wander?
Yeah, Wander, I think.
Okay, then I will do a less straight one. I was thinking of the realm of video games, and I was thinking of what is one of the highest produced, best-selling video games ever made.
Okay. And
in that context, I was also thinking of what is one of the highest-selling, most mass-produced, and culturally influential video games ever made. And I was reminded of the throwback classic, Sneak King.
What was that?
Sneak King.
The hell? Oh God. Oh.
Do you not know Sneak King?
Yes, I do. I'm just.
Evan, do you even play video games?
Are you talking? I knew it, but I just wanted to double check that godforsaken free Burger King game.
It wasn't free. You had to pay money for it.
What, $3 for it?
It was something like $5 with your meal. Yeah.
Fucking so
but get the Burger King
stupid.
King in that game.
How are you going to tell me how are you going to tell me I am Johnny Microsoft with a capital S money sign and not go for Burger King and just look at yourself in the mirror? How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, I apologize because I originally put him in Wacky and Wild, but you're right. It should be in Dr. Money because I think it's going to be the crossover of the century. I don't know when the last time you went to Burger King was. When was the last time you went to Burger King?
Within the past year, probably. I think I've eaten Burger King probably once in the past year. Maybe once in the last 2 years. I'm not sure.
What did you get at Burger King?
Double bacon cheeseburger.
Oh, wow. You just knew that, huh?
I get the same thing when I go to Burger King every time.
But you haven't.
I've been doing that since I was a teenager. I've been doing that since I was a teenager.
I'm really honing on this. What do you think of their French fries?
They're good. They're fine.
Okay. They had like a whole marketing campaign about that. When I go to Burger King, I get the French toast sticks. And that's kind of the only thing I ever want to eat at a Burger King because they're one of the few fast food places that still do French toast sticks. And French toast sticks are a hidden gem that like it's just hard to find in the world the same way you used to be able to. and I didn't realize until getting Burger King French toast sticks how much I missed their presence in my life.
Because you're still 6. Yeah, I know.
Yes, they're great, dude. When's the last time you had a French toast stick?
We serve them at summer camp, so usually once a summer, I look and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
huh, I haven't had lunch yet. I'll try a French toast stick. I take one bite and go, no. And then I'll go home and
I
I'll make
bet
real French toast, and I'm really happy because I make French toast all the time. But
I
French toast
bet
stick, no bueno, bro.
I bet a summer camp French toast stick is very low on the rungs of quality French toast sticks.
I don't think French toast sticks and your capacity, also with the idea of getting them from Burger King, which are pretty much almost the exact same as the ones we buy from food service, I don't think you can say with that concept in mind that Burger King French toast sticks are that tasty.
When's the last time you had a Burger King French toast stick?
It's been a while, but I've seen them more in recent years as well.
Well, seeing is not tasting, my guy. You gotta try it. You gotta go to Burger King and try
I
a French
don't
toast
though.
stick.
That's
They're
the
really
problem.
good.
I don't. I'm an adult. I don't have to do that.
You're an adult because you make French toast?
Yes,
You're an adult because you put sugar and eggs together on bread?
you'd be correct.
That I don't know if that's the most adult food you could think of, my guy.
I don't think it's the most adult thing that I make or that I can think of, but I think making a really quality French toast over going to Burger King and buying French toast sticks is a far more
You could
adult thing
make
to
French.
do.
You could heat up French toast sticks in the oven. That is an option.
Okay, what is your actual reasoning behind this godforsaken idea that I'm already want to vetoing? But go
Nah,
ahead.
I'm done. I just wanted to talk about French toast sticks. I like French toast sticks a lot. It's been a while.
That's why you wanted to do the sneaking.
Yeah.
I'm really
So what tier are we putting him in?
nah.
You don't like him?
Again,
I'm gonna
he doesn't fit Smash Bros. You want to put him in another franchise that does wild ass shit like that? Great idea. You want to put him in Dead or Alive? Great idea. You want to put him in Soul Calibur even? Go for it. Or Virtua Fighter. The ones that do that wild, crazy shit, he's not a Smash Bros. Character. It's the same thing I have with the Toyota. It's real life. Doesn't belong in Smash Bros.
he sneaks up on people and he walks like this. And then there's like a stealth. Like, have you played Manhunt?
No, but I know of Manhunt.
It basically uses the Manhunt mechanic, where you sneak up on people, and your like murder meter fills up.
Jesus
And if your
Christ.
murder meter gets all the way to the top, and you press the assassinate button, rather than like cutting their heads off or whatever, he like presents them with a cheeseburger. And depending on how good he does it, it'll like have more flourish to how he presents the cheeseburger. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it sounds really stupid.
All right, I'm gonna put him in the toss-up category. All right, you're up. Oh no, I'm
I was gonna
doing
say
two,
you're
aren't I?
doing two.
Wait, I'm doing two,
However, I don't know if
and then
that
you're doing
deserves it.
two.
Yeah, because mine are the quick ones that have been assist trophies or whatever in the past.
Got you. Okay. So if I'm doing another one, that one was Dr. Money. I'm gonna go a little bit more straight laced for this one. Um, Next up is Chorus Kids.
Is that Rhythm
Chorus
Heaven?
Kids is Rhythm Heaven. Chorus
Okay.
Kids is for Daddy.
I was
Chorus
gonna
Kids
say,
is for
that's
Daddy
for you.
because
I
Rhythm
know you
Heaven-
want a Rhythm Heaven rep so bad.
So part of why I say it's like more of a straight shot is that he was gonna be a character.
Yes.
Chorus Kid was one of the like beta characters or whatever for Smash Ultimate. So part of why like I mentioned it is because there was already a lot of people who were prepped and primed for the idea of like what if Chorus Kid's in the game. We have Wario, and we have WarioWare representation. The other game that those developers do is Rhythm Heaven, and Rhythm Heaven is one of the coolest things that Nintendo has going on right now. Every time a new Rhythm Heaven game comes out, it's the coolest game that Nintendo releases that year because Rhythm Heaven is supremely kick-ass. Because we're talking about Rhythm Heaven and because we talked about the Super Mario 64 port thing, I'm just reminded of this. I'm going to bring it up. There's a PC port of Rhythm Heaven that people have made that's like a full Rhythm Heaven studio where you can make your own Rhythm Heaven games Like you can make your own Rhythm Heaven mini games and like put
Interesting.
your own songs into it, and it's really awesome. And man, people are just making the coolest stuff in the world. So if anyone listening to this is a fan of Rhythm Heaven and has a mildly capable PC, go check that out. I think it's called Rhythm Heaven Studio. No, it's called Heaven Studio. That's what it is. So goddamn cool. But Chorus Kids is a little bit of a underhand throw in my mind. It's a little bit of a softball because there's probably like a dozen videos on the internet right now that you could go watch, which are like, hey, here's what the Chorus Kids moveset would look like.
Okay.
And what is particularly fun about it is Chorus Kids as a representation of rhythm games. I know we talked a little bit before, I think this was off mic, about what if Guitar Hero as a
Yeah.
character? How do you do that? And
Yeah.
like the big appeal to something like that was rhythm game representation, which I think is a really cool and really important genre.
Yeah.
I think Chorus Kids is probably a much more straightforward putt to get that kind of concept represented.
Sure.
And whatever, Rhythm Heaven. Rhythm Heaven's cool.
I'm gonna
Rhythm
break
Heaven
your
has so much character to it.
I'm gonna break your heart like I always do when it comes up. Never played Rhythm Heaven. Can't conceptualize a move set for it. What? Give me a move set for these three. All I see is three scribbled kids and don't get it. Like sell me on it. As
So
someone
it's
who's never
all.
played it.
I think the actual thing would be like, what are moves you can think of as they relate to music? Like, I think that like there would be a lot of things like, for example, the way that like a lot of Rhythm Heaven game mini games do is that you will see like someone does something, you have to do it. So it'll be like, for example, three guys marching, hut, 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 1, 2, boom, and now you got to do it. There's one with a bunch of cheerleaders who are spinning books, and they spin from left to right. And when it gets to you, you have to make sure you spin the same way too. So it's a lot of like, I think it would be very timing oriented moves. Think like Incineroar's side B,
Yeah,
where
with
he has the grab and then he throws them.
Darkest
and poof, and
Lariat.
he sends
Yeah.
them yeah, the Darkest Lariat. I think that like they would do a bunch of stuff like that. And in Rhythm Heaven, there are just like a billion different mini games that all have totally different themes to them. And I think the way the character would play out is that they would have moves that were based off of different mini games. So
Okay.
like one of the mini games is someone is flicking peas at you from like a mile away, and you have a fork and you have to stab the peas before they like get past you, and then you eat the peas. So like they would totally have a timing based fork move or like a pea shooter type move or something like that. Like there's a bunch of stuff in those games for them to feed off of to make an interesting move set for the character. So like if there's a level of like how would you even make that work? Like there's a ton of content in there for them to make it work.
Okay. I mean,
It is
I
a,
can't
it is a
conceptualize it.
fertile
but
ground.
I can't conceptualize it,
Mhm.
but it's because A, I know I don't play the games, and B,
Yeah.
it's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I'm
If
just
you, I mean, like as a baseline, if you don't know, if you've not played Rhythm Heaven, if you don't know what the games are, like, yeah, that makes sense that you wouldn't be able to like.
yeah. However, I will look into the moveset videos. One, concept. Two, genre game or a gaming genre being represented. I'm willing to immediately go outside looking in, and I think you could probably push me to New Edition, even though I can't see it.
I think a big part of the new edition is that as a franchise, it is definitely one that is also like whimsical and fun,
And that fits
and
the
that
mold.
doesn't necessarily, yeah, and that fits the mold of like Smash like really well.
Yeah.
And like there are some whimsy type characters, but like I think like there are totally Animal Crossing villager vibes to how this character would get represented in the game.
Okay.
And I think that is something they could use more of.
You can put it in immediately. Let's go New Edition on the Chorus Kids.
Boom boom, they're in it.
Alrighty. So I'll go to. I'm just wondering who do I save for last. I'll go with this one. I love Gino. I want Gino in.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gino is just so visually interesting, and now have played the new rebooted version or the remastered version of Super Mario RPG. I think there's a lot of fun possibilities with Gino and a move set. I also think what's odd with Smash Bros is there's truly not that many shooter characters. There are characters that have shooting elements, but there's not that many shooter characters. And I think Gino could really hit that mold. Also, just another RPG rep, but that's not necessarily special in Smash Bros. Either. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's just so fucking cool. He's just so visually interesting. Like I wish I had a better idea, but also again, it's another side genre of Mario that you don't see. But again, I just vouched for Paper Mario, so on an RPG element. So it's like it's one of those that I kind of took the loss with Gino already. What are your thoughts on Gino? Because
I'm
I'm not selling it well, and I just don't know if there's a way to get Gino in with this argument because there's not.
so I'm about to rhythm heaven you.
Yeah,
I know nothing about Gino.
really.
If you told me that was Pinocchio, I would have bought it. I would have just like, yeah, sure, Pinocchio, whatever. Like, is he a puppet?
Yes, he is a puppet that comes to life because one of the star people. I don't think that's exactly what they're called, but essentially they're people from the stars. Um, like
Uh-huh.
a star falls into him, the puppet, and then he comes to life. So it's like one of the star
Cute.
people is um, Gino, and then he has a cannon for an arm, and it's really fun.
Oh,
You don't see
so
that in the rendering,
it's a Berserk reference.
I guess, if you want to say that. But it is Gino
Okay.
is one. I think the next time we're together, if you want to try it, you're more than welcome to. I'd play it with you. But
Mm-hmm.
two, I just think that it's a very unique and interesting character from a visual standpoint, but also a playability standpoint from off the wall Mario stuff. However, going back to another idea that we had in the past, I think another show that we can do that I think we both would love to do is me costumes that have a signature move. And like that's the reason that it's a me costume. I think Gino kind of fits that perfectly. Where it's like you can get an actual really good version of the me costume, and we're gonna give you a signature move so you can actually feel like Gino. Because now I'm going, I don't know if I have enough to really argue Gino in when there are characters I care a lot more that we have not even fully decided on. But I know it's like
So
Gino's super popular in the Project M and the modding community of like we want Gino in. Every year Gino is not used, but hinted at in the game. Everyone gets pissed. They're like, we want Gino, but like no one really comes up with like a great argument as to why Gino, especially in this context when we're trying to argue characters in, like no one ever makes a great case. And I just failed because I fought for RPG Paper Mario right before fucking Gino. So like that's my own fault.
um I will say, and I think you just kind of touched on this a little bit. I think some of those like Smash mods have made like an actual Gino
Yeah.
and Gino moveset.
Yeah.
Um Kind of outside of the context of this conversation, we should play that together sometime.
Probably.
Because I didn't know you cared so much about that character. You might find that fun.
I don't care so
Um
much about the character. I just think like another thing I think about with Gino is for like I remember like one of the reasons like I think Smash like I'm just unlocking this in my head from like almost 2 decades ago now, which is absurd. When Brawl was coming out, like my family's internet sucked. But
mhm.
my neighbor at least had functional internet, my friend. So I'd like go over there, and when they would all be distracted playing games I didn't want to play, I'd just go on their computer and I'd look up shit for Brawl because I was just excited Brawl was coming out. And I remember seeing the first
Yeah.
Sonic trailer and being like, "Oh my god!" And even back then, I would see comments and stuff of like, "Where's Gino? We want Gino." And like that was the
Mhm.
first kind of like gaming community I was ever like even like tangentially a part of where like
That's cool.
I didn't ever like comment or do anything like that, but I at least like paid attention. I at least looked and saw what
Mhm.
people liked. Why were things important? And I always
Mhm.
saw Gino, 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 Gino. And Gino's always super high on all the Smash polls. So it's almost like I want to
Mhm.
fight for Gino as a fan service. But again,
He deserves this.
as a the Johnny Microsoft in me, that's trying to fight and doesn't even know if he can get Crash Bandicoot in the game. How am I supposed to justify Gino? Like when
Mm-hmm.
I can't even commit to Master Chief at this moment. How am I supposed to get Gino in? So it's like it's those
What tier are you
elements.
putting him in?
Toss up hurts my feelings, but it's the
Toss up
truth. Like I
next
just
to the Burger King King.
no, but in your mind, yes, but in reality, no.
Go ahead.
Alrighty. My second one here, I'll try to go on a higher note, something like I'm gonna go with Dixie Kong. One, super visually interesting. I think the most interesting of the Donkey Kong characters, actually, besides maybe just Diddy. Um,
More than Trixie? Or
yeah,
not? Who's Tiny? Tiny Kong?
Tiny Kong's the one with like the two pigtails from Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
Dixie
I think
appears in
she's
other
cuter.
stuff. Probably Dixie's more well known than Tiny as well because the DK crew people know
Definitely.
because of the song, but not because of the actual gameplay or like care for that game specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a built-in kind of fun move set, and another thing I thought of today that could be really fun for Dixie Kong. Beyond the fact that I think it could be a really fun recovery character and another really good basic character for people to learn to play with, because you could get some of the
Mm-hmm.
fun of the Kongs in there, but then with the helicopter hair recovery, it also could be a really nice character for introductory players to play as and be like, I really like Dixie Kong. That's not exactly what you're going for,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a nice element. Is playing Donkey Kong Country 3. I think it could be really
Mm-hmm.
cool to, if you want to just go that route, you could go Dixie and Kiddy Kong together, because then you could get the speed quick element and you could get the heavy character and you could do interfacing moves that are similar. Like in that game, you pick up each other, right? And like to get high places,
Can
you throw Dixie up with Kiddy Kong. So it's like that's how you get great distance. But if you want great power attacks, she picks up Kiddy Kong and chucks him. Like they have different spin attacks, they have different rolling attacks, they have different things that they do. I just think that'd be very interesting and fun, especially how much we loved the two characters as one element of Ice Climbers. I thought that could be a fun, interesting
mm-hmm.
take if I needed to fight more for more than just Dixie.
um are you sharing are you recording your screen right now?
I mean, I'm recording you exploring right now, yes?
Well, on your screen, can you just search Kitty Kong?
Oh, God, I do not want to do that.
It's not bad.
Okay, I will. I'm not gonna lie, my computer will break if I do that. So if you want to do it, do it.
It's here on my screen.
Okay, that does not look correct at all. That looks awful.
It's the little Kong toys that they feed to cats.
Interesting. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest. The
because you were
picture on
saying
that
Kitty
is
Kong, and I was like, "What the hell is Kitty Kong?" Oh, what the hell is this thing? This is so much worse.
again.
Oh, I hate this. You
Kid,
want this in the game?
no, that was my
I don't
element.
want this in the game.
That was my element to get a little bit more unique elements of Dixie. I want Dixie. I don't need Kitty Kong at all. That was
Bro,
my. If I need to make an argument, I'll add Kitty Kong.
this is upsetting.
Yeah,
Oh my god. No, what?
that's rare.
Oh.
That's the height of rare ingenuity right there, friend.
Ew.
Isn't it so I will say this. As someone who just argued
This is
for it,
not. Yeah.
let me argue against it. One, you're correct.
Yeah.
I do not like the visuals of Kitty Kong whatsoever. Two,
He's gross.
is it
He's
not
really gross to look at.
is it not just the most disappointing thing in the world to see how simplistic, but in a way beautiful and fun and engaging Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and Dixie Kong all are. And they have a unifying element, but they all have their own personality the way they're rendered. They all look very different, but fun and enjoyable. And then to follow the three of them up in Donkey Kong Country with Kiddy Kong is just so reprehensibly awful, is it not?
He has like Kardashian Botox done. Like his cheeks, he's like got cheekbone on top of his cheeks. And there's just like pictures of him riding Dixie, and I don't love that for her.
That is from the
I don't
game.
like that she needs this.
That is from the game, but yes.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, this is the least you've sold me on anything.
Again, then
and I'm
Dixie,
I'm kind of repulsed.
Well,
but now the two are tied in my mind. In my mind, they're like a shared concept, and like if I'm playing the game and Dixie Kong's there, I'm going to think about like, oh, Kitty Kong used to be on her back. That's like a thing Kitty Kong does. Kitty Kong just goes on her.
Also,
and,
I
like,
really thought
just looks repulsive the entire time.
Also, I thought for some reason you had an affection, probably due to Banjo-Kazooie, for Rare Studios and knew a little bit more of their stuff from the Donkey Kong Country era.
I've always thought the Donkey Kong Country games were ugly as sin. I always thought they were like one of the least visually appealing things in the world. And I did not like looking at them, so I ended up not playing them.
I just think they're very...
And now that I'm looking at pictures of Kitty Kong, I agree with myself.
So I will say this. I really like how Dixie and Diddy look. I'm not crazy about how Donkey Kong looks. And Kitty Kong has far more of that problem. But I do like how Dixie and Diddy look in the games. So... But yeah.
Let me look at... Oh, man. Oh, man.
But it's kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie at times.
I just think that aesthetic does not do anything for me. Sure. Like when I think of the rotoscope 3D like kind of stuff, Yoshi's Island sticks out to me way more as like Yoshi's Island is kind of like the Paper Mario 64 thing. Of like, hey, let's do this papercraft version of Mario 64. Yoshi's Island is that for me, where it's like, oh, you could do realistic 3D models, but only as realistic as like the 1990s computers could do.
Yeah.
Or you could do like Yoshi's Island, which is this absolutely gorgeous crayon aesthetic, and like looks like it came out of like a children's coloring book, and it is like the most beautiful. I still think Yoshi's Island is one of the prettiest games ever made. Like it is so nice.
Interesting.
I'm just gonna look up pictures of Yoshi's Island because I need to wash Baby Kong or Kitty Kong out of my brain.
So I would like to say this. I've already skipped the thing. I've just put Dixie in toss-up because I know you won't go higher than that. Simply due to the fact that I brought up Kitty Kong.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
All right.
But look at this. Look, hold on. Can we both just have a little palette cleanser where we look at Yoshi's Island and how it is so pretty?
It's very pretty. It's very fun.
Oh my god. They did so good. And it's got Piranha Plant in it. Oh, man. Yoshi's Island is a really cool game.
Never played it. Well, I think I've played it for 20 minutes before.
It's a hard game to like play for long stretches of time because it's pretty demanding and all the levels are pretty long.
Okay.
But every time I am playing it, it's just like the most just beautiful thing in the world. Oh.
Interesting.
Okay. We can am I up or are you up?
You are up. I will take the final two, and then these are your final two. And I think we can finish tonight if we do this properly.
Oh, I have two?
Yeah. Unless you only have one. And
I only have one.
You've struck out hard with Leisure Suit Larry and the BK King, so I'm wondering what the fuck's gonna happen now.
I mean my tier list is looking pretty different than what you're saying, so so we're on my last one?
Yep, last one. Last one for you specifically.
Okay. It's time.
Oh god. What? Is that Glover?
It's Glover, baby.
Oh, God.
Finally, we get to... And I was going to say finally we get to utilize the Glover category, but we already utilized the Glover category for Alex, which is still very, very funny to me. It's Glover, baby! Are you kidding me? Look at that guy. I have never played this video game in my life, but it is the video game that I want to play more than anything else.
Why don't
like
you
as a kid, I wanted Glover so bad. What
system
it was like
was Glover on?
I think it was N64. I could be wrong.
I'll look it up
maybe it's on PS1. Glover. It's on Steam now. Man, it's on Steam now. It was N64.
You're gonna buy Glover tonight, are you not?
I might buy Glover. But like, remember how you're a little kid and you were like, well, I don't know if this is relatable. Maybe this is just gonna be a really depressing story I'm gonna tell. But remember how you're a little kid and your parents don't buy you toys because they don't have money. So you're like, I don't need toys because I have this guy here, and I can play with him. And he could be a fun little thing because he has legs and he walks around, and that's my toy. I could have two of them and they could have fights with each other. And that's not depressing at all. Like, that's what Glover was. Glover was like, what if they made a game where you could play as your hands? And that was so cool. And he had a ball, and he'd run on the ball, and that seemed like interesting. And just it was colorful, and it had I don't know, hands are cool. Glover, man. Glover.
Okay, so I want to look this up specifically before I say it. Glover to me, yep, that's exactly what I thought it was. Glover to me always threw me off because of the similarities between that and the mascot to Hamburger Helper. And it bothered me.
It's so funny.
Even as a
It is
kid,
so funny
it bothered
you mentioned
me.
that. So it is so funny you mentioned that, Evan. Because earlier we were talking about the Mario Party Party.
Uh-huh.
And I mentioned that I should go as Glover.
Yes.
And when I had that thought, the thing that I did was I opened up a new tab and I looked up Hamburger Helper costume. So
for context,
I
people of the internet, I host Mario Party in real life on an annual basis, and anyone that is ever like a Nintendo character, if you can argue it, I let anyone come as that. It's not just Mario characters, and it was an N64 game, so I can't say no to Glover.
Yeah.
Oh God.
How
the hell are you gonna do this?
He's Glover, baby.
Also, like,
it's like, what if it's also like, because I like the addition, because if we're gonna take this serious now, let's talk seriously about Glover and his importance to the video game pantheon.
Yeah, let's talk serious about Glover.
Disney didn't let them put Mickey Mouse in, so what if you could get Mickey Mouse's glove? There's a little bit of Mickey Mouse that exists in the character of Glover.
Shut up!
And so by doing this, it also makes Sora a better addition to the game.
So stupid.
Because you get a glove. You get Mickey Mouse's glove. Pretty cool. There's a Glover too.
Of course there's a Glover too. Of course there was. Oh God.
It uses the expansion pack. So
are you kidding me?
That's awesome. What
Glover is a franchise?
Expansion pack is required. Yeah. Glover 2, baby. God. Yeah, this is Glover 2.
The worst part.
And look, they do the Banjo-Kazooie thing. He's standing on the N64. Boom.
The worst part is I know for a fact the next time you're in my household, I'm going to somehow have to play Glover.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I think you misworded that. You get to play Glover, is what you meant to say. You get to play Glover. We should have Hamburger Helper for the party.
As in, like, a food dish to eat.
Yeah.
And then I'll just put a little picture of Glover up instead of the Hamburger Helper mascot.
Yeah.
And that's how I turned it into Mario Party.
Hey.
And give them Fat Albert instead of anything else. This is so stupid.
Well, because Fat Albert probably eats a lot of Hamburger Helper. Okay. Where are we putting him?
For you, I'll go to.
Oh, what the hell?
I'm gonna go to. I guess they could do that.
Can you look at my screen?
Yes, I'm looking. What the hell is that thing?
This N64 cartridge just has like a big ass forehead. I think it's like a debug cartridge. Because it's like a debug cartridge. So like this is like a development prototype of Glover 2 and it's got a big ass forehead.
Oh God. It's scary.
I didn't know that like dev carts were so
2.
big. Yeah. I hope they do a Glover 3.
Why don't you start making Glover 3?
Where did you say you're putting them?
I'm going to go in the
Because I already made a Smash Brothers mod and you said it didn't matter.
What?
Guess it... Okay,
doing it. Who said it didn't matter?
Why do it if you're just gonna forget it anyway?
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay. You are up.
All right.
Our final two.
Glover is officially in the I guess they could do that category for me.
Oh yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go Chun-Li here. Go ahead.
When you were a kid, did you ever do that? Did you ever play with your hands like that?
Not really.
Did you ever have a little guy that ran around?
No,
Man,
I just continually did this and kept screaming Dragon Zord and Tiger Zord, and then I would kick.
I knew.
And punch a lot.
I always knew you grew up affluent. Go ahead.
Affluent. I'm sorry. Not all of us had to use pillows as blankets. My apologies.
Oh yeah, baby.
But we don't need to go into that.
Chun-Li.
Okay, so I went Chun-Li. One, I think Chun-Li actually does have the moniker First Lady of Fighting Games because she is the first female playable character in a fighting game. So one, just from a historical standpoint, we should get Chun-Li in this fighting game. Two, I think she's more visually interesting than Ryu, but we have Ryu in the game as well. I really like the fact that as a fighting character, all of her moveset is almost all kick-based, which I think is really interesting because how many fighting characters are all fist-based or just upper body strength, where she is so kick-based. And I also love the idea of how many moves you could do to get the characters that you're fighting to fly upward as opposed to outward. Because of how often you have spin kicks and stuff like this where you could get them to spin upward and to get them to fly a little bit more, which I think the moveset ironically would work really, really well in Smash because you're trying to launch. And I think that works really well with the Smash Bros. And also those spin kicks are rad. Just I've never played Street Fighter, but I've watched some clips of specifically Chun-Li and a few others to see who I'd argue, and I always go back to Chun-Li. But the moveset Chun-Li has is so fun because it's just so many kicks in rapid succession. In spin moves or another, like the 100 kick move is so cool. And I like the basis that they have a little bit more of a water element to Chun-Li's special attacks. I think it's very different and unique for a fighting game character because it's always fire or lightning or something like that. But also,
so the water thing is
super cool.
The water thing's a little bit funny because that's just like part of the newest Street Fighter game.
Okay,
is that like all of the characters have like just these weird like elemental effects, like visually that accompany their moves, but like that's not like traditional Chun-Li. It's not like Chun-Li is a waterbender or anything. It's just like something for this new game that's like a visual aesthetic.
I did notice that, but I was like, that'd be a cool element to lead with or put into the game.
I think that I think it would be cool too because like whatever, it does look rad. I will say not to bring up an old conversation / argument, but it would be beneficial for us to have Leisure Suit Larry in the game because then we could use the mosaic filter on Chun-Li's thighs as well. Because I think that there are going to be a lot of people that will not stop themselves from jerking off if she is in the game.
Okay, what someone does in the privacy of their own home to a video game is their business. I don't ever feel.
But there's a tournament scene, dude. There's a tournament scene. People are going to be jerking off at that then. Like, if we want the like competitive like landscape to continue to grow, I think we're going to have to do something about her thighs.
No. Also, thick girls need representation, and Chun-Li's thick thighs, they fit the bill. Also, outside of Urbosa, we don't have another one that fits.
Let me think about this. Would Urbosa need the mosaic filter? I don't think so.
Also, we don't need the mosaic filter because we're definitely not putting Leisure Suit Larry in this game.
I don't know, man. It's starting to sound more and more essential the more we talk about this. Like, I feel like just for like the tech shortcut, it might make sense.
I'm gonna be honest. I want you to record an episode solo for like anytime I'm like just can't do it or if I'm sick or something, and I want to see just where your brain goes on making this roster by yourself. Because I would honestly be extremely entertained with half the shit that comes out of your mouth.
I could just rearrange this right now. I think it's just gonna be. I would cut everyone except Glover. And then I would just play Glover. And I would be so excited to finally play Glover.
Okay.
Just make my childhood dream come true. That's my roster.
All right, Chun-Li. Where do you feel Chun-Li deserves to go?
Chun-Li's cool.
Chun-Li's just cool, dude.
Wherever. Where do you want? Where do you want her?
I
Where do you
mean,
want her?
I think New Edition's where Chun-Li deserves to be,
There
personally.
you go. Chun-Li's a new addition.
First lady of
Boom.
fighting games. She deserves to be there.
FLF. Who was the first dog in a fighting game?
Great question. I don't know.
First dog in a fighting game. Because we should put him in the game too then.
Alrighty. So since we do not have Pokemon Trainer or Daisy to talk about tonight, or a few other characters, this is the biggest passion project I have of straight up new characters. And it is solely because of how much I love Toadette. But I specifically took Captain Toad and Toadette because I think its puzzle games are very fun and are underrepresented, because how the hell do you do a puzzle game rep in Smash Bros? So that was another reason.
Yeah, Baba is you. How do you do that?
Baba is you is a completely different break the rules character that I didn't know existed
So
until
cool.
last week.
So cool.
So beyond that, I just think their moveset could be extremely cool, very Ice Climbers-esque, in the fact that you're controlling two characters at once, which would be...
You are controlling both of them?
Mm-hmm. Just like, I mean,
okay.
In the sense that you're doing Ice Climbers. But I think where the Ice Climbers, they take elements of ice climbing and make it attacks. Outside of a few things, like I love the idea of Toad and Toadette riding the line between intentionally hurting somebody and being very villager-esque, just making things accidentally happen. So I love the idea of them just trying to run away from stuff in the minecart and hitting people with a minecart. And they're just like, I love the idea of Toadette just like spinning off like Captain Toad and just hitting people with her pigtails, and she's just like confused. I think that's adorable.
Then she gets dizzy at the end.
I love the idea of their recovery move to get up is them just riding in the minecart and then just being flung out of the minecart. I think that could be really interesting and unique and fun. I love the idea of their final smash. Instead of something really offensive and like attack worthy, they just sit there and duck, and the big bird that's the main antagonist. What's it called? It's going to drive me crazy. But the big bird antagonist from Captain Toad and Toadette just comes sweeping into the stage and tries to attack people. And they literally just sit there and hide like this. Because they're just like, please, leave us alone. Like, we just want to live. But, like, ironically, by trying to attack them, the bird does its dirty work for them. And, like, does that. I think they just play a really fun line of just, like... One of the reasons that Mario's so friendly to kids is it's adorable. Like, the artwork and the art style of Mario is adorable, and nothing's more adorable in those games than Captain Toad and Toadette, or Toad and Toadette in general, in my opinion. Yoshi rides that line too, but they're just adorable and so fun.
How do we resolve the fact that Captain Toad and Toadette are not able to jump?
Minecart.
That's like the big thing in the... Okay. So would that be their normal jump too?
Probably, if I were going to do that. Otherwise, I would do similar to what they've done in other Mario games, or other games in, like, by stealing little elements from their franchises that aren't inherently just there, but it's just like, oh, it hit a spring somehow, and you're like, how the hell did that work? It's like, oh, it's in a Mario game,
like a
so
Sonic
it can
spring.
work. Like, you can do similar things to that, in which there are little things. And like, I'd have to do a bigger deep dive into their game specifically, because I only played about half of it. But I just think that there's a lot of different elements that you can do that are fun and unique and creative to get them there.
How do we capture the treasure hunter aspect of their character?
That's the only... I mean, I think you do a pickaxe style attack, but it's always like accidental. I also love the idea of them just turning on their headlamps up too much, and then they accidentally blind characters, and that's their parry move. And then that opens them up for attack. I love the idea of them being the middle ground between an ice climbers who are adorable but do attack you, and Villager, who's just like never actually trying to hurt you and just makes household items something that can hurt you. I love the idea of them
Uh
riding
huh.
right in between. But it's just like they're just whimsical, adorable little dopes that just get to be a part of this awesome franchise.
Um, vocally, like voice wise,
Yes.
how do they sound?
At almost all
What about
times.
the other one? So on Discord,
Yeah.
that does not come through at all.
Darn.
They will not let me hear that. But I wanted to ask because I feel like it's important for that to be on the video.
Oh, of course.
Because I'm assuming it captured fine for you.
I'm sure it did.
I just wanted the
OBS
audience
says
to
it
hear your
did.
tone voice. Perfect. Where are we putting them?
I mean, for me, it's an automatic new addition. They belong there forever and always. But this is a democratic process, and we're at 7. We have 5 slots left, and we do have some
Okay,
heavy
so I would
hitters and outside looking in.
I would skew towards outside looking in
Okay, I can start with that. That's
because
fine.
I so we need 5 more.
Yeah, we have 5 more that we need.
Shovel Knight, Crash. I mean, I think Azura because I think Azura is cool. Um, I forget we have different lists. I've just been putting all of mine in New Edition because all of my
I'm
reviews are
well
really
aware.
good.
I'm well aware. Because every time I say no, you just go new edition.
So I don't actually know what New Edition actually looks like.
Okay, do you want me to share it with you?
No, just put all of mine in there. How many total are we doing for New Edition?
12.
12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 11 on mine.
And what are your
So if we
11?
just put Shovel Knight, in there, that's 12.
No.
Easy game.
Because I know for a fact you put that stupid Toyota in there. I know you did other stuff in there.
Oh yeah, we've got the Eggman, we've got the Purple Dragon, we've got the Purple Man, we've got the Nemesis, we've got the Gaping Dragon, we've got the Toyota, we've got Dick Out Larry, we got Urbosa, we got Paper Mario, we got Chorus Kids, and we got Chunnels.
No. Okay.
So we got room for one more. It could be
Oh
Barbara.
shit! I didn't write Chun Li in there. So yeah, we have 8. We have 8 in there. So we need 4. Because on mine
4?
it doesn't have Nemesis, which is why I did. We have 4. If we're actually looking at contenders, we're looking at the Chief. We're looking at Shovel Knight, Ring Fit Trainer. We have Kratos in there, but it sounds like both of us are kind of like, I don't know if he makes it. Crash, Doomslayer, now Captain Toad and Toadette, uh, Shura, and Alex from Half-Life Alex.
Mm,
I think Half-Life Alex is a really good next one. Really off the wall, gets that VR in there. I think that's a good pick.
yeah.
You want to do Alex?
I mean, I would support that. I would support that with the caveat being that I have faith in the Super Smash Brothers developers to make a cool moveset for it. I think they are smarter people than I am.
I would agree with the idea that they are smarter than we are to be able to make that work.
I think Shovel Knight is a cool one in there, and I like the idea of there specifically being some kind of indie representative.
Yep. I always
And I like the idea that by putting that in the game, the studio that makes that game, which what the hell's the name of that studio? I feel bad for not remembering. Shovel Knight developer, Yacht Club Games. There we go. I like the idea of Yacht Club Games getting more money. That makes me happy.
I want an indie game rep. I think it's really important that the next Smash Bros. Does have an indie game rep. Is
Yeah.
Cuphead technically an indie game?
Um,
Like I
I
always
think
think
they've
about
been
that.
purchased by Microsoft. Like I think they are owned by Microsoft.
Just like almost every studio in the world is now.
Yep. They're real goddamn committed to just buying everyone up.
I mean, they had a real problem making good games for a while, and they were really into just big dumb media box. Kind of get it.
And then the good games they used to make started being bad games they made, which is hilarious.
Yeah, they went through a real rough streak there. Still kind
Who's the next edition?
Okay, so we are at 10 now. We got 2 left. We got the Chief, Ring Fit Trainer, Kratos, Crash, Doomslayer, Captain Toad and Toadette, and Azura.
If you can pick one, go ahead.
I mean, of the ones there, I think Crash is probably the one I'd go with.
So let's take a step back.
Okay.
Ignoring specifically having to look at outside looking in.
Yeah.
If you were to get one no argument pick from any of the other tiers, who is your no argument pick that you would want in? What would fill your heart?
Honestly, it still might be Crash, but it'd be that or the Dovahkiin, Dragonborn. It's those two.
Take your pick.
I'm gonna go Crash. I just think Crash
Crash?
fits the motif better, and I know for a fact then I'm gonna get a Skyrim boss fight or a Skyrim element of some kind into the. Again, it goes to the me fighter thing. I think it's gonna be really fun for us to where you don't have to fight over it, and we can just be like, hey, here's my idea for me fighters. You have 10, I have 10. Figure it out. And just be like, what do you think
how it works.
What's a cool signature move that they could have? Like, if they gave me a me fighter costume where I could Fusroda somebody off the stage, I'd be like, okay.
That's all you're really looking for.
Like, I want other elements of it. I want to be able to play as a Khajiit or a Nord or an Orc or any of the other wonderful races that are in Elder Scrolls. But when you're breaking it down, if they just gave me a good costume element and the ability to use a Thuum in Smash Bros, I'd lose my shit. So, yeah.
But you're picking Crash as your.
It's hurting me because of how much I love Toadette, but I think it's gotta be Crash. I think Crash is the character for me, and I think a lot of people are also of this ilk. He's one of the forbidden door. We got to get Crash in this game somehow. When is Crash going to be in Smash Bros? That's how I look at Crash.
I was kind of half expecting you to pick Geno, just because you had like a fairly impassioned argument for him.
It's more so I love visually the character, but he's in one game, and if I'm going to argue RPG element, Paper Mario's a better example of that with a real franchise and more creativity and more fun. It's like fair. That's the reason like why when we jokingly say like Johnny Microsoft, that's more of how I think about it. It's not always for me like business wise, what is it going to do? It's also just like, can you realistically argue these characters in a true way that makes sense? And that's what I like watching, and I want to be able to give a viewer that take versus just like, well, I like it, so it matters. You're like, no, like, that doesn't inherently matter. Like, and yeah, it hurts me to not immediately say Toad and Toadette, but I think Crash is the one I have to pick.
Okay. For my like no argument bottom of the heart pick.
Oh God.
It's the Toyota 11 Sprinter.
Fuck you. No.
Toyota Corolla 11 Sprinter. It's the coolest thing a Smash Brothers game has ever done.
Do you know how much I hate you right now?
What?
And I know for a fact.
Years.
See, that's the problem. I know for a fact you did that solely so you could put this fucking Toyota in this game.
Oh yeah.
And I will take my pick out if I have to, and I will elongate this podcast another 30 minutes if I have to get that fucking thing out of here. Because it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Are we taking Crash out?
Fine.
We're taking Crash out?
Fine.
Okay, let's take Crash out. All right, then what's your argument? What's your no argument pick?
I'm not giving a no argument pick again because I'm not doing this. It's insanity. I know you don't even believe in this Toyota. I know for a fact you don't believe in this Toyota. I know for a fact.
I do believe in this Toyota.
No,
I believe Toyota is genuinely one of the coolest things we could do.
No, you believe in the idea of a racing concept that could be really fun, and you want to be inventive and creative with it, not just bring a Toyota in to Smash Bros.
So I'm gonna look up the Toyota Corolla 11 Sprinter, and then video games. I'm gonna see what games this car is in. There's a 13-minute video
Absolutely not.
which features
We're already at 2+
1,
hours.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's a faster way for me to do this. I'm going to just copy and paste the whole thing and open it in Notepad++. Okay. In
I'm not going to agree to this at all.
video, in just this video, this car appears in 38 video games. It is the initial D car. It is like the representative of the concept of drifting. This is like where drifting was birthed, was in the backseat of a Toyota Corolla AE86. That is how many Mario games are there? How many Mario games are there? Okay, that's a lot more. But 38
Yeah,
is still
fuck
a
off.
lot.
You thought you had that one won. You thought you had it
So
in the
I
bag.
will say, I still think that, like, because that's only how many are in that video. There's definitely way more than 38 games that this car is in.
I'm sure it is, but it just doesn't belong. It doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. Again,
Let's look at
if
this
you
list.
want to put a racing style character of some kind in the game, totally for it, as long as it makes sense.
This car fits more than Kratos does.
How? And if you say because it's been in
Kratos
more
is just
games,
like
that's like saying,
it's been in more games. It's been in more games.
okay, does Tony
As a
Hawk
representative of video games.
Does Tony
Ooh,
Hawk
that'd be good.
make it because Tony Hawk's been
That'd
in
be
more
sick.
games than half these guys?
Well, no, you do Spider-Man, but you do Spider-Man from Tony Hawk 2.
Why not Darth Maul
If you were
from
gonna
Tony
do-
Hawk 3? Like,
Because that's a movie thing.
oh, not a comic book thing. Got it.
Yeah. Well, Spider-Man is more of a video game character than a comic book character at this point.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Put the car in, Evan.
I'm not putting the car in. I refuse to do it. If you give me any alternative that works, I will give it to you. I have better yet.
I gave you Crash. I let you have him.
Fuck you. You want Crash just as much as I do.
I didn't even argue it. I didn't even argue it. I don't understand why you're being so obstinate. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Here's what I'm sensing, because I already knew this an hour and a half ago into this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
When you brought up
Oh, yeah,
Leisure
go
Suit
ahead.
Larry, and you brought up the Burger King Sneak King.
I'll swap out. I can swap out the car for Leisure Suit Larry.
Absolutely not.
I don't know why you're so against these progressive, challenging ideas.
Progressive, challenging ideas.
Yeah. If we put both in, imagine the things Larry could do in the backseat of a car.
Here's the thing. Here's what I want to do one day. Let's just make another fighting game where we can put anybody in. And then you know what? You can have your Leisure Suit Larry. And you can have your Toyota.
Why does it have to be another fighting game? Smash Brothers already has like 85 different characters across 1,000 different things.
Toyota doesn't make sense and it bothers me. And
You're so mad that there's a BMW in Mario Kart.
I don't like it. You're correct. I don't. But
I keep saying BMW. I think it's actually a Mercedes.
it's a Mercedes. It's like a GLX 300 or something like that.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Is that actually what it is?
300 SL Roadster.
God damn, I'm pretty close. Okay. I don't even know cars. I'm not a car guy, so that actually flabbergasts me that I know that. Here's my thing. As someone who was panicking already, thinking you were going to pick the Gaping Dragon, and then you went with a worse idea, it hurts my feelings.
Well, okay. What don't you like about the Toyota Corolla?
Okay.
Because you keep just saying, like, you can't do that, but, like,
okay,
rationalize it. Explain why one of the most represented, like, cars in all of video games doesn't make sense in the video game about video games.
Okay, because as much as it's a video game about video games, number one, it has standards that a Toyota does not meet. Two, beyond the joke.
What is the standard that a Toyota's not meeting? It's one of the safest cars out there. Go ahead.
Why are you my friend?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. I do not think if I can't even figure out how to do a Rivali well or other characters that are loved and fit and make sense not only visually but playstyle wise. I do not like the overworld perspective of a real world thing like a Toyota entering a fake world thing of a crossover video game series of all these wonderful fictional franchises that I do not like. We
What
Fit
about Rob the
even
Robot?
We Fit even throws me off a little bit about that, but I love the character and I get it. They just took something and brought it into it. Or like how Rob was brought in. I kind of get it. It's
Yeah.
too much of a stretch for me to go to an actual Toyota car. I love the idea of representing a racing game. I think there are better ways to do it that fit Smash Bros. Better than what you've come up with this fucking Toyota. Also, I feel like you have to have enough meat and potatoes on a character to make it function. I don't want to see any bullshit punching with headlights, with headlight flaps. Now I'm giving you more ideas, and that's a problem. With tires moving,
so many good
with
options.
shocks. I don't like it. It looks dumb. It looks stupid. It doesn't fit any of the aesthetic ever brought to the game. What's the stage going to be? A basic road? Are there going to be more hazards because it's going to be a road in Philly and there's just too many potholes and too many cars in the way so everyone just takes damage constantly because everyone doesn't know anything about the city? Is that what it is?
As we talk about this more, I really do just feel like this is like Rob has set the precedent for this car.
No, it hasn't.
Because Rob does all those things that you say about like, and then he does like the flappies, then he has like he's got like a burner on his bottom, and like, oh yeah, there totally is a precedent for this in Smash Brothers. Like
no,
a real life thing.
Not. It is a beautiful little Nintendo figure that was based off of video games. This is this has just been included in video games, but I don't care.
Do you what's your favorite racing game?
My favorite racing game? It's Mario Kart, but I'm not a huge racing person. I love the idea. Like I love the concept.
Do like a real racing game.
I love the concept of F-Zero, but it gives me a migraine every time I see it.
Do you play any car racing games?
Not really.
It's a really cool genre.
I mean, I'm sure it's a fun genre for those that like to play it. It just doesn't intrigue me. Like even when people when I have to play Mario Kart, and I use that word "have to play," it's like when people are like, "Oh, we're gonna play Mario Kart." I'm like, I'll play a few rounds, but I'm never like jazzed to do it. I want to play another game, and then I have to settle for that because people are like, "Why don't we just play Mario Kart?" I'm like, "All right, fine, we can play Mario Kart."
That's what I feel like. That's at play here. You're just not feeling
my dislike.
You're not understanding the importance of the Toyota Corolla.
I think that you are intentionally trying to drive a knife into my back.
I've been playing. I'm trying to think back. Like, I've played as a Toyota Corolla probably like every 2 years since I was like 5 years old. That's how iconic and represented in video games that it is.
It's not iconic.
Like it's in Gran Turismo 1 on the PS1.
It's not iconic.
This is so I'm saying this genuinely. Like this is legitimately one of the most iconic racing game cars. Like that is not like I just picked a Toyota Corolla because haha. Like this is actually like the car that like people use for drifting. Like this is like the like pointed to example. Like this is a genuinely legitimately like important car in like video game racing games.
I'm looking it up now to make you feel better.
Look up the Initial D drifting car. I think that'll get you the... That'll get you like the name of the car or whatever. And I feel like that's part of like that's a big part of why I picked this car specifically is because like this is like the drifting car. And like it's not just like a car and Cars Drive or whatever. Like drifting is a very video gamey thing. It's a very video game mechanic. Like whatever, people drift in real life and all that stuff too. But like the act of drifting as a implemented game mechanic of whip your tail out, get around corners tighter, that whole thing, like, is a very like emblematic video game concept.
Yes. I'm telling you right now, this is how much it hurts.
It's games, baby.
I'd rather you put Glover in this goddamn game.
But Glover's. I haven't even played Glover.
Oh, now we don't love Glover as much.
Not as much as a car. Not as much as the Toyota Corolla. Toyota Corolla's good. I thought you were gonna say Leisure Suit Larry, and I was ready to bite. Not for Glover.
I can't agree to that. I've thought it. That's how maddening this Toyota concept is to me. I've at least thought about it, but I won't do it.
Oh yeah.
Please
I
take.
think this is
just take Azra. Just take Azra, and it's fine.
I think this is where the split happens.
Move up, Baba. I at least was on board with Baba. Just didn't know how it would work as a concept. Bring up Baba.
All right, let's do Baba. We'll take Baba.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll take Baba and just know that in the heart of hearts that one of the things that Baba is going to do is he's going to change the rules to Baba is Toyota Corolla, and then boom. Okay, so with that caveat, we can put Baba in the game.
I like how you've intentionally taken the last 20 minutes of this podcast to just push my buttons. That's all it is.
There hasn't been enough of it during the series thus far, so I felt like I needed to just really just revel in it for a little bit.
Okay, so now that you've gotten what you've wanted, which is really just chaos because that's who you are as a human, what would you actually like if I said
throw Baba in there? Baba is the coolest goddamn thing. So I'm gonna say this. I think the actual I'm not just talking shit. Legitimately, I think the Toyota would be a very cool, interesting character to implement, but also reasonable. I actually think that you could make a reasonable moveset for it and all that other kind of stuff. I think Baba is the most out there, cool, experimental thing that we could do, and that there would be a ton of really exciting ideas that would come out of Baba.
Okay.
If there was an actual no argument pick, and I cared about the central conceit being what is a character that I have confidence would be a cool, fun thing in this game, it would be the Toyota Corolla. If I had what is going to be the most experimental and exciting, it would be Baba.
Okay. Interesting.
Because a lot of the other ones are just I don't know. Azura is really cool, but he's also just a dude with a bunch of arms.
Yeah.
I know what he is. I know what he will be.
Yeah.
He's gonna punch good, and that's cool. But Baba is everything.
True.
And that's rad. Baba is the next Minecraft Steve. Baba is the escalation of the Minecraft Steve concept.
Oh boy.
And that is an exciting prospect of how do you escalate beyond that? What interesting gameplay ideas and innovations can you do from it?
It's going to be really interesting to hear you have to flesh this out.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know for a fact I can't flesh that one out.
You should play Baba as you. Or talk to Sam about it, because Sammy also really likes it.
All right. I'll think about it. I'm too busy playing Pokemon Unbound. So.
Are you playing Unbound?
Yeah. It's pretty rad.
Hell yeah. You liking it? Hell yeah.
I am. The amount of work and detail put into that game is absurd. And it's exactly what Pokemon Unbound is the kind of ROM hack you play that they don't need to go 3D. They could have kept this franchise 2D and just continually just did more and more and more with it. The fact that you start in a functional snow town, something that Pokemon never could really do, because I know the engine just did not work for the Coronet Highlands and everything else of the Sinnoh region. But the fact that you can just be in this beautiful snowland and within 5 minutes go, wait, there are different outfits in this game? That's cool. Oh, that you can do this in this game? That's cool. I just beat the first gym. And I just got my Hoot Hoot to evolve into Noctowl, because, of course, once I got Hoot Hoot, I was like, oh, I'm going fucking Noctowl, because Noctowl's dope. But the fact that you can just do so much with that, and it was just made by people that care and love the franchise, wanted to make something, and it's not just some AAA title, is really, really cool. And it just shows like a ROM hack is kind of the perfect way to show why people, like all the people on the internet, they're like, oh, why do people still care about Pokemon? ROM hacks are the perfect way to show it. It's like, because
Yeah.
Pokemon in some ways is the perfect sandbox. That's what
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon really is. And it's filled with adorable creatures that are fun. So, but that's off
I'm
topic from there.
I'm I'm glad that you're enjoying it because
Yeah.
that seemed like something you would really really like.
Yeah. I
I'm
also
going to
started.
make a quick call out because
Yeah,
I think you watch Alpharad.
I do.
Did you watch his Pokemon Fusions video?
No, Pokemon Fusions always kind
Um,
of throw me off.
you should check that game out because it seems absolutely goddamn wild. Like, there are like thousands of like I think like literally like hundreds of thousands of like Pokemon fusions they have designed. Like I think every Pokemon that's in the game has a fusion with literally every other Pokemon, and
That's absurd.
it is insane. It is legitimately like incredible. It's wild. I think it's worth seeing. If you're realistically like I'm guessing you probably won't play it. If you don't play it, you should watch Alpharad's video. Because watching his video might make you interested in playing it.
The other
That's what
thing
my
is this
takeaway
is
was
I
after I
have
watched it. I
no
was like, oh, that's just
issue.
crazy.
I have no issue down the road if we ever want to do in-person stuff or my computer won't blow the hell up. I'd love to just
Mm-hmm.
go through ROM hacks or just do creative stuff from the internet. It doesn't have to be just Pokemon. It could be all these just weird random things that we think could be fun and interesting and just go like, huh, this is really cool shit that people make. Like that's
Pokemon Fusion, let's play. Let's go.
and just go through those similar things. But that is for a different
Mm-hmm.
time because we have to
Yep,
finalize this roster. So we got the 40, and now we have our 12
we
add-on
did it.
characters. We'll have even more
Mm-hmm.
stuff coming to you with new episodes, with new Mii Fighter ideas, revamped characters. I have a Pokemon trainer idea that I think is pretty fucking rad. But officially in the game, we have, due to contractual obligation, number one, Dr. Robotnik, also known as Eggman, is in the game.
Eggman. I feel like so. Hold on, because you keep bringing up the contractual obligation and then calling him by the wrong name.
No. I'm
I feel like you gotta
contractually
say Eggman
obligated.
first.
Okay, Eggman. I'm contractually saying that has to be said first now. It's really Dr. Robotnik. But Eggman, due to my contractual obligations, is in the game.
Yeah.
2. Waluigi,
Kyle.
specifically our boy Kyle.
Yes.
The Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 is technically number 3 on our list. I was wowed at that argument. That was the best argument he had the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Spyro,
The Toyota was the best argument I had, but
That's-
Nemesis was a good second.
completely wrong, but go for it. Number 4 was Spyro, Skylanders, and Kid Toys, and like the toy market was the thing for that.
Jobot.
Next, ironically, was Urbosa at 5, which I didn't have high hopes for her, but I really wanted. Urbosa was 5. Paper Mario was 6 due to the creativity element. 7 was the Chorus Kids from Rhythm Heaven. 8 was Chun-Li from Street Fighter. Then we went with Half-Life Alyx for the VR elements. Shovel Knight for the indie rep. Crash Bandicoot for just the Angelo's trying to sneak in a car and he's going to let Evan do whatever he wants for this one. And I made the mascot PlayStation argument. And then, after a long deliberation, Baba Is You came in quick to just
Baba Is You.
blow this game up.
We love Baba. Baba's gonna be the coolest thing in the world.
But you know what else people can love?
What can they love?
Going to my Etsy store because it's gonna be pretty cool. Let's go look at it right now. Oh my god! So here's ptcreative.etsy.com, and you can buy cool items like this awesome Psyduck shirt, Stressy and Depressy over here, or this cool National Park sticker, or Pokemon mystery packs. They're pretty packed. They're pretty rad. Like them, love them. Power Ranger stickers, football stickers, Wisconsin stickers, all kinds of other stuff. Mountain Moon, other video game stuff. It's pretty cool, if I may say so myself. And get it in before you can. Etsy shop sale, ptcreative.etsy.com. Use the promo code BLISS on any order of 2 items or more and get 20% off. And that sale ends March 13th, 2024, so 2 days after this show debuts. You have 2 days left after this show debuts. Go use that promo code at the Etsy shop. So use promo code BLISS on any order of 2 items or more.
I recommend the Hawaii sticker.
And he really, really recommends the Hawaii sticker, and it's definitely not for ironic, stupid reasons.
It's not. I left a review on your page.
He did, and it was a wonderful, wonderful review. It was amazing, and definitely did not make me do more work to fix it that I still haven't done.
And you won't. That's why you recommend it. People should get it. It's very fun.
Could be fun. Could be fun. Could be fun.
Could be fun.
Alrighty, but that is going to do it for us here, folks. I hope everyone liked this episode in this new Smash series of the ONETA show. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Share it with as many people as you possibly can. And comment to see how much you want to have that godforsaken Toyota in our game. And
yeah.
If you're willing to build it, we're willing to let you put it in the game.
I'll take it, yeah.
There we go. Any final words before we sign off?
Smash that fucking like button, brothers.
Appreciate it. We really need the help. Just share, like, comment, subscribe. Do it all. We appreciate you, especially if you do that. Bye.
Can I do one last sign off before you hit stop?
Yeah, of course.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too. I wouldn't put up with you if I didn't love you. I wouldn't put up with a 20-minute godforsaken Toyota argument if I didn't love you.
What a good character idea.
Oh, God. I can't wait to continue to talk about this off mic. It's going to be great. All right. Love to everyone. Bye.
Bye.